Broadcasting from a newly designed space-age studio in Midtown Manhattan, high atop Gotham City. Transmitting to million-dollar satellites placed in geosynchronous orbit and beaming down upon the entire continent of North America. Sirius XM, home to some of the greatest names in the music and broadcasting industry. Yet they let this dumpster fire continue to burn unattended for 3 damn years. And now, with the help of Matt O.G., Gittles, and Christy Puchko, the most underrated, underestimated, and certainly most undeserved show in radio history heads into its 4th year. Ladies and gentlemen of the universe, the next voice you hear, it's Erik Nagel.
Thank you, Scott Shannon.
Yes. I love how all of the nice things he has to say, each and every one of them is wrapped up in a little bow of passive-aggressive hate.
Well, that's the radio business.
Sure.
Matt. That's just how things are.
Sure.
Welcome to the program. Yes, it was. It was overproduced for no reason.
I love it.
Welcome to the program. It's Erik Nagel. It's our 3rd anniversary show.
Holy shit.
3 years of flying under the radar that this company probably thought they got rid of this show in 2014. And it's just an Office Space situation.
If anybody actually listened, we would have made it past 1.
Due to a glitch in the payroll, we still get a paycheck.
That's all I care about.
And they took our red stapler.
There you go. Damn it.
And we're now in the basement. And then we'll soon burn this place and live off the insurance money. I think that's how the world goes.
I don't think you could say that, though.
Oh, all right. Then I take that back. We'll continue to do this fine program. Welcome to the show. My name is Erik. To my right is my co-host, Matt O.G.
Hello.
To his right is Christy Puchko.
Hey, everybody.
We are sans Gittles tonight.
Yes.
Due to another obligation. He's adulting, so we had to take care of that.
That happens.
But we have some friends on the show that we haven't had in a long time.
Yes.
Mr. Brian Johnson is back on the program from Tell 'em Steve Dave and AMC's Comic Book Men.
Hello.
Hello. It's been a long time, sir.
It has. It's been a while.
It's been quite a while.
You know what? I think I know why it's been a while, because
Turn that mic right into you.
I love you guys.
Yes.
I hate this city. This city, I don't know how anybody does it. Every time I drive in, I'm like, I'm never driving into this city again.
One, we don't drive.
Oh, you don't?
I mean, I don't. You guys
Just
are crazy.
turn your mic like that. Don't turn it straight up. Turn it like this
Toward
way,
you,
right?
like
tilted
toward
toward me.
your
There
face.
you go. And then
Just handhold it the whole time.
See, I come in from New Jersey, but I don't
Handle
drive
it
in
like a
either.
little
I take
bit.
the train because I can't stand driving either.
I was going to take the train and then was like, oh, if I drive in, I could save 20 minutes. That's not the case.
No.
Yeah, no, not at all.
And I'll tell you what, pedicab drivers are the scourge of New York traffic.
Anybody
They should be
on
outlawed.
like bicycle wheels is horrible in this city.
I've told this story before. I actually pushed one of them out of the way with my car, right here on the corner of
Wow.
49th and
You're that guy.
Yeah, 49th and Broadway.
Right.
So I'm in the front, right, of the line, crosswalk, waiting for the green
Right.
light. The pedicab driver comes out of nowhere on my left and then angles right in front of my car in the crosswalk. And he does that thing where he moves
He's
the pedals
bouncing
and he's
back
just
and
going
forth,
back
yeah.
and forth. And he's looking at his phone. Light turns green. There's a bunch of cars waiting. He's still there on his phone. So I honk at him, and he gives me a look, and he just kind of turns. So I don't accelerate. I let my foot off the pedal, and as it just naturally accelerates, starts pushing his bike, and he's freaking out, and then he gets out of the way and starts screaming and yelling, and I'm already down 49th Street.
It's just like the thing is that for those that don't know, in New York, cyclists are supposed to follow traffic laws, but they don't follow any laws of man or nature.
Nope. Because you don't get the freedom of the bike path because you have a license plate. So
Right.
technically you're a vehicle and you have to... do the
But it's
same
like
things that we
even-
do.
They don't
like,
do it in
even when-
suburbia either. It's just way worse in New York because there's more traffic.
Yeah, but it's like I live in a neighborhood where there's a lot of bikes and there are bike lanes, and people will still be like, "No, I choose the sidewalk," and it's just like the sidewalks are not big enough to handle like teenagers racing by on bikes, and it's like, if I had a teenager, would I want them on a bike in the street? Hell no, but that's not my problem. That's
Right.
your problem. You had a teenager.
People suck.
Exactly.
That's the moral of the show today, kids. Takeaway. Don't drive into the city and people suck. Brian Johnson, like I said, is here, and to his right is our pal Randy from NECA Toys. Hello, sir.
Hello.
And we're going to get to Randy a little bit later because he's got a bunch of stuff for San Diego Comic-Con that we got to talk about.
I think Randy officially holds the record, right, as the guest that has appeared most often on the show.
Correct.
I think
All
he's
right.
appeared more
really?
than I have.
It might be.
We can run the numbers on that.
Do you live next door or in this building?
I made
Because
the mistake of driving in from Jersey as well.
it's unbelievable, right?
He's
It
been
is
here a
a
week just
nightmare.
because he's waiting for the traffic to
When I
subside.
left, my hair was as short as yours.
I hired a chauffeur. Eric, thank you.
You're very
I
welcome.
thought you guys were going to complain about like the weather or just I forgot how horrible this area is on the weekends because I live in Queens and I do not come into Manhattan on the weekends because tourists stop it. Just no one knows how to walk. It's like it's one foot in front of the other at a steady pace. You do not stop abruptly because there's a flow of
Yeah,
traffic.
right.
I had like 2 giant bags today because we'll talk about it. But I did a junket today, so I had the stuff I needed for the junket, and then they gave me a bunch of cool stuff. So then I'm like double barreled, so I'm like burdened like a mule, and I'm trying to wind through tourists that just keep stopping or deciding abruptly to turn, and it's like none of this is how this works.
So we're coming in tonight, and Eric is like, I don't understand why there's so much traffic coming through the tunnel. And I'm like, Eric, it's a fucking Saturday night in the
Yeah.
summer, going into Manhattan, and the weather is nice. And then
Yeah.
where we park,
And it hasn't been for the record.
I
It's
know.
been
It's been
rainy and
raining.
horrific.
where we park,
And I liked it that way.
no, boo.
No,
I know a
kept,
tornado
oh.
warning, right?
Yeah.
A tornado
I
could have
was-
scooped them all up. And
I
carried them
had
off.
a gigantic umbrella. I was still getting pelted with rain because it was the kind of rain like in Forrest Gump where it was coming up somehow.
You're Mary Poppins.
It was awful. I was just soaked. And then my phone is like freaking out in my pocket while I'm trying to listen to a podcast. And it's like, and another thing that is almost like, I was like, no, I know it's a fucking flood warning. I know.
Yeah.
I'm aware. I don't need my phone to keep telling me this.
Every
I'm in
30
it.
seconds.
This is my reality.
But the sidewalks all around here are under construction also.
Yeah.
Have you noticed that? So you get stuck behind some old person who doesn't understand the flow of pedestrian traffic. It happens to us walking to the garage every week, and I almost murder an elderly person every week.
I think I am a patient person in general, but like I get pedestrian rage. Like I don't drive, so I don't have road rage, but like oh man, I just have like so little restraint, and it's probably good that I'm a tiny person because otherwise I feel like, you know,
And you're wearing
I'd
shit
make
kickers
headlines.
too, so
I
you
am.
could definitely bust up some shit.
I don't think it was
Urge to kill rising.
Yeah, I have like my big heavy Doc Martens, and it's like, you know, I can stomp heavily behind them and be like, move your fucking ass. I don't have time for this.
If you were any bigger, you'd be pushing pedicabs into traffic.
Exactly. That's why God made me small. He's like, that girl's got too much rage to be more than 5'2".
A little later on in the program, our pals from the Laser Time Network out in San Francisco will be checking in. They're starting a whole new Patreon deal, so they wanted to promote and talk about that. I've talked about their podcast for many years now, including Talking Simpsons.
Right.
They have a thing called 30-20-10, which they explore everything that went on in pop culture this week, 30 years ago, 20 years ago, 10 years ago, and some video game stuff and a whole bunch of other cool shit.
We
So
might have to explain to people what Patreon is in case they don't know, because we haven't talked about it on this show in particular before.
Patreon, I'm still fairly new to it myself because I've heard podcasts say, "Oh, support our Patreon." And I was just like, well, do I really want to? How much am I listening to this? Do I really want to spend the money on it? And then I found that a lot of these podcasts that I've been really, I don't want to say obsessed with, but really loyal to and been listening to nonstop, I was like, you know what? I should contribute some money to the production of this thing. So I've been logging on to Patreon. It's Patreon.
Correct.
.com. And what it is that they set up these tiers where you can donate every month to support not just a podcast, but an
Anything.
artist or
Yeah.
anything you could come up with in a business scale. And they have different tiers for different amounts of money that you contribute to it. And I think for like a bunch of podcasts, I think I'm doing at least $60-$70 a month with at the $10 tier.
And depending on what you
people out.
pledge each month, you normally get something. You'll get like,
you get, like, bonus content
or whatever
yeah.
it might be.
And sometimes they have posters in the sense of cosplay people. When they do that, they have different tiers where if you spend $20, you get a signed poster.
Right,
if you
like
spend
prints and
10,
stuff like that,
you get a digital wallpaper thing or something like that.
I support 1 or 2 webcomics that like they publish a page a week.
Oh, that's cool.
And it's like $2 I think I pay a month. And so at the end of the month you get like 4 pages or whatever, 5 pages
that's
or
interesting.
something like that. Yeah.
That was like how I started my way back into comics was webcomics. Because like I read Nimona.
Okay.
And then when she took it off of her website, because she was printing it, there was like a huge rebellion against her. And they were like, how dare you take away this free thing that you had being free and now we're going to charge for it. And it was such a weird reaction. And so, like, as soon as it hit Amazon, I was like, I'm going to buy that. Not only because I want to finish it, but also because she put, like, for 3 years, she built this comic and let people read it for free. And I was like, why did everyone get mad that she wanted to be paid for a shit ton of work?
Because,
Yeah, I like the idea of Patreon
free
for
is
that.
good.
I didn't know. Because, back in the early days of the internet, I read like a lot of comics online, and they were really weird, and I can't find them now.
Yeah, there's a bunch of really bizarre ones, but so Patreon is it's really just sort of another
it's a way
form
to
of
patronize the arts.
crowdfunding.
And
That's all it
a
is.
couple of the guys quit their full-time jobs and are just living off the Patreon now to produce. Bottom level, to live, but also to produce these programs and then all the research that they do.
There are some people that make like 6 figures, I think, off of Patreon. It's
but I think a lot of people assume that things like that, like YouTube stars, I feel like a lot of people are like, and now they're millionaires, and it's like, I mean, it's a living.
No,
it's like, it's
but
like
6 figures is a hefty chunk of change.
No, that's true. But I'm saying that's not like the average. Like a lot of,
no.
I mean,
have
like
to hit a certain.
One of the sites I
notoriety.
write for, they were considering doing a Patreon because we're a smaller site, and some of our fans are like, "We really love your site, but I hate ads, so I use an ad blocker." And we're like, "Please don't use ad blockers," which is going to be my PSA right now. If you use ad blockers online, essentially what you're doing is stealing revenue to the site that you like. And I understand that ads are annoying, but like without them, they can't pay the writers, and it's like a whole thing. So whenever people are like, "Oh, I really love your writing, but I do put on ad blockers," like that's kind of like you're just saying, I really love what you do, but I'm stealing from your boss. Like, that's what you're saying.
I'm sure everybody knows this, but Brian does a very successful podcast called Tell 'em Steve Dave.
Right.
Does that podcast use the Patreon system too, or how do you guys fund this?
We don't.
They don't need that.
No, we do. Well, we could use it. I mean, when I hear 6 figures. But the problem is that along with that comes obligation.
Yeah.
Right.
And that's nothing
well,
that any of us
it's
want.
so much like
no, I don't want to be committed.
So
to
much
that.
like
it is a thing. It's like you said, because it's like you're like to take it to the subscription boxes that I can't stop talking about. It's like you're promising additional stuff. So then it's like it's not just doing a podcast anymore. Now you have to do additional content for the people that are kicking in more.
Right. So much like a Kickstarter campaign, and I've backed a bunch of Kickstarter campaigns because there's some really great ones out there.
I
but
backed
there
like
are
anything
also
that's for a cool board game
some
or shit.
awful ones. Board game ones are always so expensive, though.
They're so good.
They're
though.
so expensive. But I've backed
Wasn't Cards Against Humanity one of those?
I don't think
feel
they were
Originally,
Kickstarter. Oh, they were originally,
Yeah,
right?
originally, yeah.
Yeah. But like, I mean, there's everything on Kickstarter. But again, I've backed a bunch where they couldn't fulfill the pledges.
Oh, really? I've never had that happen.
And
That's
then
so
people get mad.
nerve-wracking.
So imagine now that you have a Patreon
Yeah.
and you're promising people, like we thought about it for our podcast. We were like, well, yeah, we'll do it. And we'll give them extra content each
Right.
week. And then I was like, oh, but wait a minute. That means I have to find
Right.
an extra hour each
Yeah.
week to create extra content and the extra time that it takes to produce that content,
Yeah.
put it online. And I was like,
And that's the thing. It's like with podcasts and stuff. Like I had a podcast for 3 years. We never charged for it. It was always free. We never made a dime off it. And it's like a Patreon.
we break even if we're lucky.
Right. And a Patreon probably, we were really lucky in that we had someone that already had like their own like bandwidth network or
Right.
something and was willing to like help us out with that. But like, yeah, it's like, it's so much, it's already a labor of love. And then you think, oh, I can do a Patreon. I can make some fat, quick cash. And it's like, that's absolutely not how it works.
No, not at all. I've been podcasting for 11 years, and it's just we've thought about it 100 times, and every
Yeah.
time I sit down to do it, I start thinking about it. I'm like, just no, we'll just keep
because
doing it the way we're doing
it does become a full-time job.
It does.
Yeah,
It does.
exactly.
And not at that point.
I know, like, I'm not shitting on that. I'm just saying.
No,
that,
yeah.
like,
No.
That's
I don't have the motivation to do it.
Yeah, it's an intense reality.
Yeah,
There's a guy that does. It's a podcast called Sword and Scale. It's a true crime podcast.
Okay.
And
Christy's
he uses.
intrigued.
Oh,
Do
yeah,
you like
that's
it?
my deal. I
She
haven't
loves-
heard of that one.
Oh,
But
it's amazing.
She loves true crime
It's
stuff.
one of
true.
the few
I'm
Patreons that I
freak them out because I'm like, do you guys hear about this murder? And they're like, stop talking about murder.
Yeah, like that murder hasn't happened yet. What are you trying to say?
Don't worry about it.
Spoilers for next week.
This was a plot of
But
a
that's
movie
one
once.
that like this dude. There's so like when we go do a podcast, we sit down and we're like, "What do you want to talk about?" This is a guy who puts in research and does interviews,
Yeah.
and I mean a lot of production.
What's
goes
this one
into it. Sword and Scale.
I'm gonna
Make
download
a
that
note.
right now.
Yeah, you'll like it. And he has a pretty big back catalog, so
Good.
you can go and like listen to all that stuff.
My husband's gonna be super stoked. Like, I listen to like murder podcast after murder podcast, and like at some point he's like, "Look, I love you, but this is a lot. Can we just?"
She
like,
listens to them like what most girls when they're soaking in a tub with candles and those soap bombs that are
fucking
going
joke.
off.
I
She's got
do.
a little Bluetooth speaker listening to somebody getting
Her
brutally
fingers just
murdered.
curling and uncurling.
And this is the perfect scenario because your husband's going to be like, you listen to way too much, and you're going to say, yeah, but Brian Johnson told me it was going to be okay. And knowing Brian, he's just not going to give a shit and he's going to laugh it off. So it's the perfect circle.
No,
Works out
she
great,
goes,
works out great.
if you don't cut the shit, you're going to be on next week's podcast.
That's right. You are. You're
He's
the
my
victim.
husband's like fine with it until he's like, sometimes we watch those shows where like husbands or murder, like wives murder their husbands, and I like you'll be like, well, I mean, she had a point. And I was like, look, I'm just saying, occasionally she has a point.
Right.
That's
So,
what the ID
I
channel
thi-
became, right?
Exactly,
Like just
yeah, it's-
chicks killing their husbands.
Well, there's so many. There's wives with knives. There's deadly women. There's
Wives with Knives from the maker of
Snapped.
Babes with Balls.
You don't even know. There's Who the Bleep Did I Marry? Like, there are at least 3 different shows that are
I'm
specifically.
guessing we're not going to see them at Big Apple Barbecue next year.
Probably not so much. They're not making it next year.
How's Tell 'em Steve Dave going?
It's going well. We just a couple months ago we crossed into 7 years
Nice.
doing it.
Wow.
And still, and this is why I don't do Patreon. Like this week, we had like this glitchy hiccup where I couldn't put the episode out for an extra 2 days, and that's why, like, because you can't disappoint people if they're paying. That's why, like, we always
Right.
want the podcast to be free. That way,
Exactly.
you don't really have to answer to anyone.
Yeah. Right. When people complain to us, like, how come you didn't have a new episode last week? We didn't.
You know, we
Yeah.
can't do it because we're on a
Sorry.
subscription service.
Right.
But if you ever wanted to put another T-shirt out for Tell 'em Steve Dave, we disappoint you for free.
Yeah.
It would be great with a Ghostbusters thing over Patreon. But everything's going good.
Yeah, it's going well.
How's Walt and Brian doing?
They're both doing well. I think Q's in France right now.
I like how you didn't bother to ask about Ming. Like, just to heck with him.
Well, I'm getting to Ming.
Oh, okay.
'Cause he talked about Ming. He also filled in for a bit on Smodcast with Kevin while Scott was over in Paris.
Right.
So I was going to get to Ming. So thank you
okay.
for jumping the gun
No
on that.
problem. That's
but,
my job.
Everything's going good with Tell 'em Steve Dave.
It's going well, yeah. This is the tough part of the year because, like, we start shooting the TV show in July, so we shoot it for a couple months, and that.
Do you have
with
a new
Quinn's
season?
Yeah.
All
we
right,
got a
because I
season
think the
7.
last I heard, you guys weren't sure if you were getting renewed.
Oh, we're never sure.
Okay.
We're never. We finish the season and then we wait for like 9 or 10 months.
Does
until
AMC
somebody
And then
still
you
love
read in
us?
Variety.
Yeah. Or Kevin will text me and be like, "Hey, we got another season," and we're like, "Okay," and then we just do
Cool.
it again. Yeah. I mean,
Wow.
I think they like us.
I would think so. Especially if they start well, no, because the timing's always off. They should have you back to back with Preacher.
I
It
was
just
gonna
seems
say,
to make
like,
sense.
and this isn't a knock to you at all, and because I like comic book men, but I would think in the grand scheme of things, that show is probably one of the easier ones for them to produce and put out, and it's consistently liked and it does well. So why not continue doing it?
I think it's no maintenance whatsoever.
That's what I mean. It's
they're
like-
like, here's money and go play for a couple months,
Right,
and then we
it's,
come back
you
with
know,
a show.
here's a camera crew.
Yeah.
Make it happen.
Yeah, and by this point, it's a pretty like well-oiled machine.
Yeah.
Like, pretty much everyone is the same. The
Right.
same crew from season 2 on. So everyone knows what they're doing. Everyone knows what they're supposed to do.
Yeah, and you have your peripherals, and they all know what they're supposed to do.
What I'm
and-
trying to say in a roundabout way is it's a routine, just like anything else.
Right.
Does I don't know if we asked you about this last time, but because of the amount of traffic you get from the TV show into the secret stash, it's Red Bank, right? Where the
Right.
store is. Has the town ever had to come down and talk to the production company? Are you guys like, look, this is causing too much of a scene or
I'm sure
something
they
in
love
town?
it. They would. I can't imagine they would ever do
No,
that.
we pretty much universally get treated like schmucks.
No, because you never know. I mean, you can get crazies that are camping out there overnight and
But I got to tell you though,
public urination.
going back
That's me.
years and years and years, Red Bank was kind of a shithole for a long time until like the stash opened up and it got like a bit of notoriety. Like because I remember going to Red Bank when I was much younger. I would only go to Jack's. Like that
They
was the
used to
only
call
reason
it
to go.
Dead Bank in
yeah,
the
and
80s and
it was
90s.
awful. And then like it kind of had a really big revitalization, and you guys played a part in that, or the stash played a part in that.
I
Kevin
think the
played
stash
a part in that.
restoration hardware.
Yeah.
Then like Starbucks came in, so it's like these like sort of upscaley
Yeah, like that. Was it a Steinbeck's that went away, or what was the?
Steinbeck's. Oh,
Was it a
yeah.
Steinbeck's,
Yeah,
right?
yeah.
That big department store that
Used to
went
go school
away.
shop in there.
Yeah, I mean,
Yeah, now it's like a fancy like suit plate, like a
Yeah.
like high end like male clothing shop.
yeah. Because I remember the only reason to go into Red, literally, it was the little pizza joint and Jack's Music was the only reason I would ever go down there. Otherwise, it was like, why would you? Why would you go there?
Yeah, Jack's is the record store in town. They're still there now. They sort of have a resurgent like vinyl interest in vinyl and stuff. So they sell vinyl, they sell CDs, but their evolution is really interesting. Like in the '70s, it was like a head shop. They head shop and records and stuff and tapes. And then then they tried getting into videos and computer games and that sort of thing. And then once that died out, they got into the CDs. And then once the MP3 stuff started, like
Right.
all the downloadable stuff, they still have like a hardcore. Plus, the guy owns like half the town. So
Well, they were the best because I remember, when I was really into like the punk scene and like ska and stuff like that, and you couldn't find stuff
Ska.
anywhere, but Jack's always had it. Like you just walk in there
Yeah.
and find whatever you wanted that was obscure. Sometimes
Yeah.
used. It was always cheap. It was great, and you get tickets to like local shows
I
and
mean,
stuff
like-
because they sold tickets to concerts and stuff there.
I
So I
hate
would
to-
buy tickets to Stone Pony. It was perfect. It was a great place to go and hang out.
I hate to get all kids today, but kids today, no, but like
Millennials.
Let me get there.
This is
no.
Eric's bit. You're stealing it.
I know. But the thing is, it's funny because you say that, and like I very vividly remember going to like the one CD shop that was not like a mainstream CD
It
shop.
wasn't a
so-
Sam Goodies. It wasn't a
Right,
record town.
and
yeah.
they would sell like used CDs, so people would go there and sell their rando weird stuff,
Yep.
and that's how I got into bands like oh god, now like the Pixies and Sebadoh and all
Sure.
these like weirder fringer things, and like like Follow the Path from Tori Amos to Ani DeFranco to whatever, and like. Today, like, they don't need to go to someone's musty garage that's a quote-unquote store. And
Right.
I don't know. I'm like, I have a nostalgia for that because they can just go on iTunes and download stuff.
You'd absolutely love Jack's. If you're ever in Red Bank, you should pop your head in there.
I will keep that in mind. But as I don't have a car, I am rarely
Right,
in
rainbows.
Jersey.
Right,
So
rainbows.
they picked up the show, which is great, and you're going to start shooting in July, you said?
in July, yeah.
All right. Right in the middle of the summer. But you're in the air conditioning, so I guess that's pretty good.
Yeah. Last year, the air conditioning broke when Ralph Macchio
Right.
was there. Dude's a trooper. If I were him, I would have been like, I'm out. I'm out.
And by
Yes, he's taking his shirt off.
like my rider includes very few things, but sweating to death is one is not on
It
there.
was pretty
so.
brutal.
Do you guys ever
Yeah.
record anything at Comic-Con for
San Diego?
yeah, for San Diego?
We have not been to Comic
No.
Con.
I was gonna say I know you
It
hate
would make too much
conventions.
sense.
Yeah,
Yeah.
but I know you hate conventions in general because people.
But why wouldn't they? Like the biggest, New York and San Diego, why
Yeah.
wouldn't they send you to either one?
We go to New York for
Well, you do
press
panels,
and
right?
Stuff and a
Yeah.
panel. Yeah. San Diego, they have these rules where they can like shut you down at any minute for any reason. The fire marshal guy is real like uptight and shit. So to risk going out there just to be shut down would be too expensive for
Randy
us.
knows he's a San Diego veteran.
Yeah.
How long have you been going? 300-400 years?
17 or 18 years now.
Yeah, I think the first year I went was 99. And man, was it different, huh?
Oh yeah, early 2000s even. It's changed so much in the last.
It was a
15
former
years.
Sam Goodies.
Yeah.
Now it's now it's at the convention center.
Well, it wasn't the media.
It just
wasn't the
seemed
media
like-
hub that it was.
Yeah,
it was
it's
actually comic books and toys and.
It just seems like they should have found a way to work this out, even if they weren't shooting so much on the convention floor, them just walking around the gas lamp district and all that. Because Kevin's out there all the time, especially since he's been doing stuff with IMDb.
He had the yacht party last year.
Which was a lot of
It was fun.
But they could tie all that in together for the show. I think that it just would make sense
Sure.
for them to figure. But I don't. Just like every company, they can never figure it out
Right.
how to
Are you
do
guys
all the
going
fun
this year?
stuff. We are going.
Yeah,
this
we're
year.
going.
I think Ming and I may go.
Oh,
We're
nice.
not sure yet. But
If
we may
you
be
are,
out there.
come. We're going to be doing the show from San Diego there, so come by and
Let us
hang
know.
out for
We
a
have
little
to,
bit. Yeah.
For sure.
We haven't talked to Ming since the one time all of you were in here.
Yeah, one time, Ming, Walton, you
And
came
Mike
in
was
like
in
early
here.
on.
Yeah.
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 So yeah, we'd definitely love to do that, especially if you're going. How long has it been since you've been out there?
Last time I went out there actually was with Q. We did a road trip out
Yeah.
there. That might have been like
Q's out there all the time too.
4 or something like that.
Okay,
So it's been a while.
The goal this year is to get to Q before he's had too much to drink.
Oh my God,
Because
yeah.
last year,
Well, no. To be fair, hold on. So we had time scheduled with all the guys from Impractical Jokers, and we go. It's at one of the hotels. We're in a conference room. It's all
it's at
nice.
the Omni, I think.
Yeah, all nice and set up and catered, and it was a great place to do the interview. And then they come in, and one of them's laughing, saying, "Oh, Sal's not going to be here because he went to go do the Rick and Morty panel."
Yeah.
Which Matt and I looked at each other and were like, "Look, we really can't blame him." And all the other guys were like, "Yeah, we can't blame him either."
Yeah.
So we did the whole interview, and then we were trying.
You meant
with
Quinn, not Sal.
What did I say? Sal?
You said Sal.
Oh,
You
sorry.
meant
That
Quinn,
Quinn
yeah.
went out to do it. So we were talking with the publicist and everything, trying to track down Quinn. Like maybe we can get 5 minutes with him somewhere because
Right.
they were also doing the block party,
Right.
where they were closing down the street at that one venue. So
Yeah,
like
Dick's.
exactly. That's where it was. So it was like, all right, we'll get at least 5 minutes with him somewhere. He's nowhere to be found. You can't find him. So just by chance, we're on the IMDb yacht, and we just saw Stan Lee, and we're hanging out with Kevin for a little bit, and all these people are there. And next to that is the Turner yacht, where TBS, TNT, all their properties, Adult Swim, all that there. And so we're like, oh, cool, maybe Quinn's over there. So as we're walking out in the back where they're handing out all the free champagne and everything, there's Quinn. He's just hanging out there. We're like, let's do it right here. And he's just like totally bombed.
Yeah.
And I was like, all right, this isn't going to fly.
Yeah,
So
we'll reschedule.
we just had a couple of drinks and shook hands and said, all right, we'll see you
talked
another
to him
time.
we hung out for a little bit, but
I
it
had
was
an
not
idea
interview
this
time.
year for this season that it got squashed because of security, but there's all those yachts in that little harbor, big harbor, and I wanted Ming and myself to interview A-listers in like a dinghy, like a rowboat, and they were going to go for it, and then they said security is so tight there,
Yeah,
that
it's
they
really
won't
hard.
let any other like watercraft in or whatever.
Yeah, because we used to, when the first year I went to CBR, they have a yacht, and that was like what they used as their press room. So we did all our interviews, our video interviews there. Like that was our hub instead of renting a room in one of the hotels. And when everyone was gone, some of us would stay there. And yeah, like the security's like involved. It was like kind of a production and a whole thing. So yeah,
Kind of a big to-do.
Yeah.
Because also right by the water is where all the main celebrities come in through the back part of the convention.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So
That's where they sneak them in.
it sometimes looks like the president's motorcade is coming in, and then you
Yeah.
find out, oh, it's the Avengers. you
Right,
know?
right.
Yeah,
Well,
it was
come
funny
on,
because we had
who's
like
more important than A-listers? They deserve
You're right.
more security and more safety than any other
Than
person on
anybody
Earth.
else.
We had a golf cart, but someone stole it, and then we had to find
See?
it. It was
That's
a
what
whole
happens.
thing. Yeah.
I bet it was an A-lister. They're like, I'm not walking.
I don't. Well, we had a golf cart like to pick people up because, to be fair, it was hot, and secondly, you don't want them to get mobbed a million times on the way there.
Sure.
'cause it's
It
gonna
was
screw up the whole
Randy.
schedule. Yeah,
He just wanted to run the back streets of the convention while he was going to and fro.
we found out later. I think it was someone got drunk and actually stole our cart and crashed it into like one of the lawns of one of the hotels. So we got it back, but it was like a whole.
That explains Quinn's bruises.
I wanted to ask you this too. I don't know if it was last season or the season before. You did something where you were racing the Batmobile.
That was
Right.
It was
You were in here for that. It was like 2
Batmobile
years ago, right?
versus the Green Hornet.
The
Green
Green
Hornets
Hornets,
thing, right?
yeah.
Now you guys did something with Adam West, right?
Yeah,
Right.
yeah. He was there that day. He rode with Walt in the car, and he came into the store and talked
With
about
his
it.
passing, are you going to touch on that at all for the new season?
I don't know. I think the network did some sort of like tribute and showed that episode. Maybe.
Oh, okay.
I don't know that I don't know that we'll revisit it.
You know, Powerless, which we've talked about on the show before.
Yeah.
We all got to do the interviews last year, and sadly, it got canceled.
Well, we did. The
I was
interviews and then
wondering
the
why
whole
I ran out
concept
of
and then the whole
episodes.
concept changed. Yeah, but Powerless made I don't know if it still is, but it was for a
It
couple
was
of days.
yesterday anyway.
The Adam West episode,
Yes.
which was after the show was canceled, but they made it available
Right.
to watch if you
and
wanted
they had
to
never
see it.
aired it previously, and it
Yeah.
seems like because it was going to be the season finale,
Right.
but then they were like, "We're not renewing this. There's no point."
Right.
But yeah, I recommend it. It's nice to see Adam West kind of doing his thing, and also just talking about other Adam West stuff. The podcast Reply All
Mm-hmm.
did an interview with him like 2 years ago, and they reran it this week. So it's the rerun episode, and it's really interesting because it just talks about like him doing Batman and how that affected his career and how he kind of had to embrace what Adam West was to the world.
Right.
It's really it was a lovely
I've
episode.
I've met Adam West. I met him a couple times through the years at different conventions and stuff like that. We talked to him a couple times on Geek Stuff, and like at one point in time, it was like, yeah, he's kind of playing. You don't want to say it's terrible, but he was kind of playing with borrowed time. But then he had a huge resurgence, and he was doing really quite well, it seemed. But yeah, I was sad. That's a terrible one to lose.
Did Walt take it hard?
I don't know. I mean, as hard as you can take the death of somebody that you don't know, but don't really know.
Yeah.
But you like. It's like, oh well, that sucks. But
I don't think he got the Kurt Cobain tears.
like, is it really about Adam West, or is it about the death of just a little piece of your child?
That's what it is.
Yeah.
It's really
really
about
what it is.
it's really
It's like,
about
oh
the
my God,
iconic
immortal.
Batman.
Yeah.
Is really what it is. Yeah.
I mean, I found it sad, but then you saw things online and news footage and stuff where people were devastated by Adam West dying. I didn't grow up with the Adam West
Right.
Batman, so I didn't have that connection to
Well,
it.
Erik
but
was-
I understood why.
People have that reaction whenever a celebrity dies.
Do you
that
guys not have you guys not had that connection?
No, I have. You know, for me personally, it was really weird. Alan Rickman
I get that.
really hit me hard when
Christ,
that
I
one
don't have that
happened.
connection with people I know.
Yeah,
let
like,
alone
I-
celebrities.
It's weird,
I
like,
think it's because
because normally I'm just like it's sad. Obviously, it's
Yeah.
terrible. Like when Carrie Fisher died, I thought it was really sad, and a little
Right.
bit of me was like, oh. But I normally don't have like the big Kurt Cobain. I usually
Sure.
go to Kurt Cobain because
no,
that was, like,
I
the
remember.
crazy,
Oh,
crazy
people
one. But-
lost their minds about that.
But
You
yeah,
cried
not
at Kurt
normally,
Cobain?
but-
You cried when Kurt
No,
Cobain died?
I didn't.
I was
but
like
people
way
that
too
was,
young
yeah.
to understand what was happening there, so that was not. But like when Bowie died, that was really jarring to me.
Sure.
And hard because, and again, like I don't know David Bowie.
Right.
I wish I had, but I think it's because it's not about them as a person as much as the role they had in your life and how
Sure.
it's like, and a little bit of that is gone. Like the music will always be there, but like
And so will the videos. So will everything.
No, but,
except for
like,
the new stuff,
exactly. But it's like there's a
which
cutoff
nobody
point.
likes anyway.
Black Star is pretty good. Don't like Black Star's heartbreaking.
Like I went to see Skinnerd, and it's like 12 out of the 13 guys are not original band members. How difficult is it just to play all the hits from like mid 70s, and nobody
Right.
gives a shit about anything 80s on?
I mean, I think it's partially like it's like I don't know. Have you guys seen Inside Out? I'm gonna get a little out of the box with this, but
Yes.
in
The
Inside
Disney-
Out,
the
like,
Pixar movie.
yes,
Yeah.
But there's like the part where the imaginary friend says goodbye, and I feel like it's a little bit like that.
That hurt.
like
When Bing Bong went. I'm
yeah,
not gonna lie.
I think it's like, and
That
it's
got
like
me.
I know that comparing Bing Bong to Bowie sounds absurd, but like for most of us, that's the idea though. It's
Sure.
like he doesn't know us, but we felt we knew him, and so to have that pulled away feels really intense.
Sure.
So like I understand that sense of loss, and also just the sense of like I feel like when a celebrity dies that you grew up with, mortality reflects itself at you.
Right.
It's like you too, motherfucker. Like you know what I mean? Like
I don't need that. Every time I go to the doctor, there's some new thing that they're like, dude, you're 49. Now this is wrong.
Yeah.
And this is going to be wrong in probably 2 years.
Well, it's kind of like a car checklist. Like you haven't quite hit your 65,000 mile like maintenance
Yeah.
checkup yet, but when you do, this is what we suspect will be wrong.
right.
Walt said, though, that somebody came into the store crying that day,
Yeah.
like in tears.
Like-
And he was like, what are you doing? Like, what's going on?
Yeah.
Because I know Walt's a huge Batman fan, and Kevin Smith credits Walt for getting him into that world of a lot of things, especially Batman. But when I saw the footage, like in Los Angeles, when the mayor turned on the bat signal,
The signal, yeah.
but you just saw people in the crowd. Some were celebrating, some were devastated. Like
Yeah.
they were crying. I was like, weird, because I didn't grow up. I know it was a generational thing. That's why I didn't have the attachment.
Sure.
But I understood why people would get so emotional to it, because look, I'm not a fan of that original Batman. It's okay. It looks
it's
a little hokey,
classic.
but I get at the time that's what people had. That's what they grew up on.
What would
so
it be
that
for
was,
you? Who would it be? Would you be like Val Kilmer? No.
No, for
I
me,
would, but because of Doc Holliday,
it would
nothing
be.
else.
I honestly, I think anyone from The Simpsons. The Simpsons is so ingrained in my life
So
that
Harry Shearer.
like, but yeah, Harry sure. But like if Dan Castellaneta or Matt Groening,
Sure,
Al Jean,
sure.
any of those guys who were there from the beginning and made it what it is.
Sam Simon? Were you upset when Sam died?
I was, and then I even watched the documentary on him on IFC where they showed him going through his cancer treatments
Jesus.
and figuring out what he was going to do with his billions of dollars. That he was such a philanthropist that he
Seems
was
like a
donating.
super nice guy.
It depends who you talk to, because regular people loved him, but if you were in the industry, they didn't like him.
Oh, no?
So he worked on some things where people didn't like him, but then he worked on projects like Taxi,
Right.
where everybody loved him and James Brooks because of what they put together.
Was he on Cheers,
Taxi's
too?
still real fucking good.
Taxi is great. I think he wrote or something for Cheers.
I want to say that's right.
Yeah, I thought he was.
He
on
had some
Cheers,
involvement,
too.
but I was actually said. In fact, was it Variety had a full page ad from Gracie Films and Fox where they drew him as the Simpsons in heaven with Santa's little helper, and now I'm getting upset.
I say you. Look at him, he's tearing up.
So I cut that out and I have a frame.
Oh, we broke Eric.
Fives all around.
All right, fuck children. Let's get back to this thing again. All right. Millennials.
We broke Eric. This is unique.
That
I'm
was
so
one of the
excited
things.
about
I
this.
know. Does that make us bad people?
Yes.
I'm not dead
I'm gonna go
inside.
with yes.
So is Taxi on Netflix? Let's change the subject for a second.
No,
I
that's
don't know.
fine.
I think at some point it was on Hulu, which is when I started rewatching it, but that was a while ago.
Because
I
you
don't
know what is on Netflix? The Joy of Painting.
Oh,
And
dude.
I've been watching Bob Ross.
Was that the Bob Ross thing?
Yeah, I've been
So
watching Bob Ross
satisfying.
with a passion lately.
I went
Every
to
time
a-
he breaks out the phthalo blue, I get a little emotional.
I went to a party last week, and that's what they had on in the background.
See?
Did you get his Funko put out a
It's
pop
not-
of
It's
him?
not
It's
out
not
yet.
available till September.
It's
Oh,
coming
okay.
out in September.
Bookmarked.
Yeah.
What kind of purse does Funko have? You might know this, Randy. That they can license every goddamn
imagine.
thing under the sun. It's
Yep.
unreal.
Yeah, and the advertisement too. Like you'll see if you come out to San Diego, they have gigantic billboards,
Yeah.
and they wallpaper entire exteriors of buildings and skyscrapers
I
out
just
there.
thought that was fan art.
And it's tied in with Conan.
It's tied in
Yeah.
with Conan.
The
Because
last
Conan
three
has
years.
I didn't
Conan
know
has
that.
exclusive Funko Pops for every day
Yeah.
that he's out there doing his show every year.
Yeah, there's
Wait.
a Jedi Conan this year.
I know.
Wow.
Last year was
Well,
the
last year was
Stormtrooper.
Stormtrooper,
This
but
year's
he'll
the Jedi.
he'll do 5 shows, right? And each show the audience gets an exclusive Conan pop.
That's wild.
And so it's
I
Conan
think there's a Flash one this
in
year.
a certain
too.
like Superman as a Ghostbuster,
Right.
whatever that they got the permission for. But they have the airport wrapped up. They have the luggage carousels
Yeah.
all wrapped up with it. The buildings that you see as you're landing have a huge thing
So-
with a Conan Funko Pop.
I
You
think
know,
with
part
Funko,
of it is also though that like Funko gets licenses that for brands that are not doing a lot of other stuff.
and we've actually talked to Funko on the show before. We've had them
Many,
call
many
in, and we've
times.
talked to Mark out in San Diego, New York, a couple times. And a lot, it's a bit of a mixed bag. It's they actually get people approaching them, and I'm sure that puts Funko in a really good position to negotiate a really good deal on the rights that they need. So that probably helps. And I think part of it is too that Funko's got a lot of weird little loopholes to get shit made that other people couldn't get.
Yeah,
made.
the bobblehead thing.
routine,
Right.
Right.
They
I mean,
and he's explained
yeah.
this too. They've had certain licenses where somebody else has the rights to make figures.
Star
So-
Wars.
Yeah. So
they can't put out a Star Wars Funko without it being a bobble.
right. So that's what they do. It's the same thing. It's just a bobblehead, and then they go, nope, it's not a figure. It's a bobblehead, and then
That's
they can do the
wild.
license.
Have you guys used the
person who
bobble
bought the
loophole
license
in
is
the
like,
past?
No,
No, I mean, because I know you guys have put out a lot of bobbles through the years. I remember seeing a bunch of them. Yeah,
but
I have the Deadpool one.
yeah,
Yeah.
So do I.
Yeah, most of the time we try to do everything like realistic, and
Sure.
they go the opposite way, and that's how also
Right.
they get away with it because there's no likeness. I mean, everyone's
Right.
got like black buttons for eyes,
Right.
and
There's
the
no
faces
likeness.
Are,
There's
yeah.
not a lot of tooling, so production, I'm sure, is
It's
way
cheap.
down. Yeah.
Oh yeah, yeah.
So
Right.
it opens up resources elsewhere.
Yeah, I mean they're smart. They developed their own style. That whole
Yeah.
pop thing, I
Yeah.
don't get it, but I'm not the audience for it. Like,
Right.
I want a lot of detail and a lot of realism.
I didn't think I was either. I was like, what is with this? Like, what's with
Yeah.
this crap? And eventually, like, the Breaking Bad ones came out.
Ah.
And I was like, oh, an Exorcist one? And I bought into it.
Yeah.
And
Wait,
like,
he's in the actual RV?
Yeah, you know what it
the
is?
crystal ship. I bought the crystal ship.
I didn't get it either, and then a friend of mine bought me one, and I politely put it on my shelf, and then she bought me another one, and I started getting really excited because I was like, oh, because they look uniform enough, I can have stuff from Adventure Time or Game of Thrones or whatever on the same shelf, and it looks together instead of like I'm a crazy person with a bunch
Right.
of random shit.
So, but,
in
like,
my
Somebody went
apartment.
to a garage sale.
Like
Yeah.
for me, I own a bunch too, but I try to buy ones within the specific wheelhouses that I collect, right? So
Yeah.
I have like a bunch of Darth Vader ones because I'm a Vader collector. I have a bunch of Green Arrow ones because
Right.
I'm a Green Arrow collector. But then there are really weird properties that there are no other toys available. Like I just bought all the
Yeah.
Gravity Falls ones.
They're so cool looking.
Because they're Gravity Falls and there's not a lot of Gravity Falls.
Was that a
versions.
TV show?
It
was.
was.
It was
It's a
on-
cartoon show. It's on
cartoon.
Hulu. Recommended. We were just
Yeah.
talking about this last last week, but it's this weird like sci-fi show about twins in the woods.
It's on Disney XD. Have you seen Gravity Falls?
I have,
You have kids.
Yeah, right.
I love the show. I
don't have kids. I just think it's a really fun show.
But,
and it has like Kristen Schaal and Jason Ritter.
And then there's like the Rick and Morty ones, and it's like, but it's weird. So for Rick and Morty, right? I refuse to buy a Morty pop. I have 2 Ricks. I won't buy a Morty.
Why.
He's got principles.
He doesn't like the face.
I don't.
The
Yeah.
mouth on it.
No, because he has the asshole mouth.
Yeah, and he's got the ball chin. But like
No, it's like that lip thing that looks like looks like it either looks like an ass or testicles depending on your.
So the thing
purview.
that makes them really good sometimes, I guess, really hurts them sometimes.
Yeah,
as
no,
well,
I thought
but,
the same thing because I was like,
no, I'm not buying Morty. Yeah.
Yeah,
So.
the Funko Pops are fun. I have like my Funko Pop shelves, and then I have my more realistic shelves. And like I showed you the picture of Wonder Woman. They released a Barbie of the Robin Wright Amazon character. Holy fuck! It looks so much like her, and it's a Barbie, and it has like action poses, and like it's the first time. It's the most money I've spent on a collectible in a while.
Yeah, just no,
See what I'm saying with the mouth? Yeah,
I
that's
can't
like,
do that.
So when you're hanging around with your NECA guys, do you guys like put down? They're like, look, balls for a face. Leatherface would never have balls for a face.
There's a lot of trash talking.
Yeah?
going on. Oh yeah.
But I'm sure that's intercompany anyway. In general, like I'm sure.
Yeah, I mean, we
everybody-
break on each other all day long, but we definitely tear apart. A lot of us, many moons ago, used to work for McFarlane Toys, so that's where most of our trash talk would.
You trash talk McFarlane?
Oh, big time.
Do you trash talk how heavy those figures were and how they used to like pull the plastic out? That was like when I did work at the store. What a pain in the balls that was.
Well, they sold them as figures, but they weren't figures. They were statues.
Little statues.
Yeah.
More or
statues.
less,
Yeah, you guys, when NECA first came on the scene, I mean, you guys were really the first to really put a lot of articulation into the style that McFarlane was trying to do, I think.
We didn't have a lot at first. We had more than they did, certainly, because Todd wouldn't let us do anything. Like a ball-jointed neck was like, blasphemy. Like, no, we had a huge fight back in, say it was like 98 or 99 for Michael Myers, the original Halloween Carpenter.
That was part of their monster,
Movie Maniacs series
Maniacs,
too.
yeah.
So for me, the one thing I always think about is Myers is how he do that thing sort of like a dog. And if this is radio, but
he does the head tilt.
Like he did that thing, and it was really creepy. We wanted the figure to do that, and Todd refused to let us have a ball joint in the neck. He has a high collar on the jumpsuit. The mask comes down. You don't see the joint at all. But it was like foreboding.
Was it production costs or he just didn't like it?
A little of both. Yeah. And he's still like, you can watch like YouTube videos with him from Toy Fair and other events like that, and he's like kicking and screaming, implementing more articulation because it's what the fans want, but he hates it.
He hates it. Yeah, it's weird.
It does certainly. I mean, the more pieces, the more expensive it is. So every joint and fitting and separate piece you have from production drives up the cost.
But I kind of feel like when you're buying those toys, you want them to be able to do things.
Yeah, I mean, it's become like sort of
it was
evolutionary, like more articulation, just like more detail has come into toys, and it's what the fans want at this point.
And the prices have certainly gone up, but I feel like at least for certain properties and certain things, it doesn't seem to matter too much. Like the collectors of those properties pay the money.
Yeah, I mean, as long as it's good. I mean, look at the business that Hot Toys has done.
Right.
I personally am not going to drop $250 or $300 on a single figure. It's just not.
Right.
But they do it.
But they do it.
Yeah. I mean, and I mean, you guys have certainly had success with it. Mezco right now is having huge success with their 112 line.
Right. And those are about $70 or $80.
Yeah, they're like, I have like 3 or 4 of those. Yeah. And they're crazy. So, but I want it. Like I took the Green Arrow out of the package, and that night I was like, "Honey, my Green Arrow came today from Mezco." She's like, "Okay, I'm gonna watch Drag Race," and I went up into the office and I played with my Green Arrow figure for hours
Matt and
on
I
end.
have the same marriage, guys.
But he's laughing at you for getting upset about.
No, but yeah, it was actually. I don't know if I told you guys this, but at Christmas, I didn't know what my husband was going to get me, and he got me like a couple of different things. But he got me the Saga articulated hero figures. I literally cried. I was so excited because I never bought them for myself at Comic-Con because I was like, that's so much money.
I finally got that set.
They're beautiful. They're so and they have like different wings for it's
for
just
Alana, yeah.
It's such a cool thing, and it's something that like when I had a smaller apartment, I absolutely just couldn't do because I had no room. But now we actually have shelves and wall space, and like it's been a real joy to get to put this stuff around my home because then when we have people over, like it's not even just a conversation starter. People get excited. Like, people are like, oh my God, the Saga dolls. Or why do you have, like, the Golden Girls figures? And I was like, because the Golden Girls are fucking awesome. That's why.
You can ask Erik because he's seen it. But, like, when new people come to the house, my wife's like, do you want to go see Matt's collection? And half of them are like, yes.
Yeah.
And I have to take them on a tour of because I have one room in my house that's dedicated to it. It's my office. It's where I do the podcast, but it's just wall to wall toys.
Well,
so how awkward is it when the other half is like, not really?
I actually prefer it. I'm like, good. It means I don't have to go through, turn on all the lights and shit, make sure nothing's knocked over or falling down.
I mean, that our stuff is like when you come into our apartment that we're in now came with like 4 bookcases built into the walls, and they're beautiful and they're wooden, and like we were really excited because we have a lot of books and DVDs and things and stuff, and my husband does D&D, so there's like all those really thick, gigantic books that are hard to put on shelves. So we were really stoked. And it was the first thing we set up because it was the easiest thing to set up because we're like, we know where things go. And so, like, even when people just were helping us move stuff in, like, people would come in, they're like, this is like almost like a warning, like geek out or get out. And I was like, kind of. Here are our terms and conditions. Like,
but you have to go through that too. You've got a huge Star Wars collection.
Yeah,
you've been posting bins and bins of toys that I want for like the last couple of weeks.
I've been moving it all. That's why you've seen that.
Oh, is that what it is? You're moving it?
Yeah. I've got 2 little girls. They've kind of ruled the house now. So, and my parents are selling my childhood home. So anything I had stashed there, plus all the stuff I've been collecting my whole, it's a mess.
I got that call a couple weeks ago too from Mom and Dad. You got to come and get the bins out of the attic. Yeah. It's time.
Oh, my sister did that when I was in college just because she decided they should clean out the attic. So she would like surprise me. She's like, I'm going to come visit. And she brought like 3 gigantic boxes of like my stuff from childhood. And I was like, I have nowhere to put this. I had to donate so many things, which I know is a nice thing to do. But then like the next year, R.L. Stein was super cool again. I was like, motherfucker.
When your parents called, were they like, you got to get the body out of the attic?
They didn't even call. Like, literally, my sister showed up on my doorstep and was like, hey. And, like, they live in another state. It was not a subtle move.
One of those conversation starters she was talking about.
Yeah.
My parents did the same thing when I sold the apartment and moved to a house.
Right.
My parents were like, oh, I want to come up and check out the house and everything. Oh, great. They haven't been up. I haven't seen them in a while. They drove up. And I'm like, why are you driving up?
Yeah.
Oh, we just want to drive up. So they drove up from Florida and had all the stuff that I had left at their place, which they took from when they moved from Long Island down to Florida. And they go, here you go, all yours.
All yours.
Yeah.
I think it's an old person thing because, like, I don't have any toys at my parents' house, but like a toolbox that's like tucked away in the garage. My father's like, yeah, this is taking up too much room. I think they're just like.
Yeah, it
after
is.
all these years, they're like, I want my space, all my space.
That might be true.
This space is not your space.
The older they get, it seems like the less they want to show that a house is lived in. Because, God forbid, if they have like an island in the kitchen and you leave something up there, they start freaking out.
Funny.
It's like, get that out of here.
Well,
My
they're
parents have
retired. They
become
have
more
less
relaxed.
to do. So.
Yeah.
My parents have become more relaxed, but I think it's like stuff is it's not clutter, but they're also they have grandkids now, so I'm just used to toys being like legit everywhere. But I think part of it is also that my mom has a very different life than I do, where she has a house, so she has a basement and an attic and a shed, and she will like give me things, and I will say, Mom, I love you. I love that you give me things. I cannot use this. And we got into an argument because she bought me a second wine opener, and I already had a wine opener, and this one was electric, and you had to keep it on the counter to keep it charged so it would work. And I was like, that's just too many things. There's too many things. So I gave it away to somebody else that wanted it. And I told her that because she was like, I was using hers, and she said, I can't believe you don't know how to use this. You have one. And I was like, I know, and I gave it away. And she's like, why did you give it away? And I was like, because I had to, and this was not practical for me. And she was like, well, it was a very expensive gift, Christy.
It's a generational thing.
Yeah.
They can't handle they can't handle the idea that if they give you something, or if anyone gives you something, that you might be like, I don't really want it.
But then she said you could put it in your spare, and she cut herself off. And I was like, were you going to say spare room in my 1-bedroom apartment? My spare room? Where would that be? And it's like, because, she lives in a small town. My brother and sister live in a small town. They have spare rooms.
Sure.
Did you ever get the thing about wasting food too? Like if you're trying to lose weight and you're monitoring, measuring out what your portions are, and then you're like, oh, I have some stuff here, I'm not going to eat the rest of it, I'm going to throw it out, and you get the guilt trip of why are you wasting that?
There are kids in Africa.
Yeah. I did when I was like a child. They would tell us people are starving over there.
No, but I think that kind of fucked me up. Because now I'll sit there and I'll go like, look, I got to finish that thing of macaroni and cheese.
Did you just blame your waistline on the world?
No, I blame the current waistline on the last 2 years here. Everything else was from childhood.
I blame it on Ben and Jerry's.
No, I don't eat Ben and Jerry's.
I meant me, but fine.
Okay.
Everything's
But
about
you were
Erik.
casting shade.
I was cleaning
Throwing shade,
my
Erik.
kitchen the other day.
You need to watch RuPaul's Drag Race.
No,
How
I
many...
don't.
Oh my God, the finale was so good.
I saw it
My
all
wife
over
was
my
very
Facebook
excited.
timeline.
She was very excited. I think the one she wanted to win won.
Sasha
so
won. Sasha won. It was amazing. Sasha won. It was great.
I
Get
was
to that,
cleaning
and
my
then we gotta
kitchen.
get to a call.
Yeah, I was
Our
cleaning my.
producer is cracking up at me right now. What the fuck is happening?
I was cleaning my
Christy
kitchen the
likes
other
murder
day.
and drag queens, not together.
And I found in boxes inside my kitchen like 4 mops that my mom has been giving me every year for Christmas. And look, I love my mom.
That's a
She's the
mom
most
gift.
well-intentioned person on the planet, but she is obsessed with QVC.
I was gonna say, is it a fancy infomercial mop or just a regular?
Oh
mop?
no, it's like a QVC.
It
like
is
it
the
does
nicest of
things.
mops.
There's lots of instructions and
It has
washable
its own
bits and
Wi-Fi.
interchangeable bits. I don't know, but I found like 4 of them in the box, and my wife was just like, I don't know what we're gonna do with all them.
You javelin them over the neighbor's fence.
I put one upstairs in the bathroom. I've left one in the kitchen, one out in the garage, and I was like, someone might need them up sometime.
Yeah.
You're divvying them around the house like fire extinguishers.
Well, you know, you never know when you need to mop, Erik. You never know.
Let's go to our friend Fabio in Los Angeles. Fabio, how are you?
Hey, what's going on, everyone?
Hey, you going to San Diego this year?
I am not going, unfortunately.
All right.
Boo.
Yeah, I don't have the money. I don't have the time. Too much work and stuff.
Gotcha.
2 quick things, though. I want to jump on the McFarland shit talk wagon. One of my favorite quotes from him is, well, I can give you more articulation, but what are you going to do with it?
Pose the figures,
Yeah,
Todd.
play with
How
it,
about
Todd.
that?
It's a toy.
Right.
Yes.
Right, exactly.
Real quick, when I was in high school, I loved what he did to Spider-Man at Marvel. I thought it was really cool. It was fresh, different way to draw Spidey, and gave Mary Jane a modern day hairstyle.
Yeah,
and,
right, exactly.
Made things a little bit more contemporary. And I was like, this is cool. I love this guy's art. And then, several years later, I went to work for him, and
Yeah.
those feelings they just aren't in my soul anymore.
Are you saying never meet your heroes?
I've had different experiences.
I was going to
That
say,
just
you've met a
wasn't
lot
good
of your
one.
heroes.
Yeah, so it varies. He just
Yeah.
was one that, at first I was real excited. It was a dream job. This guy makes awesome
Right.
toys. I loved the comics and everything, but then working there was not pleasant.
I understand.
And it's amazing because I have weird feelings about him as well. But then I watch the man draw, and if I just sit down and watch him draw, I'm like, God damn, he can still fucking draw great. I wish he would just like pull back on some of the
Yeah.
assholiness. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
But hey,
It looks like you're making the blowjob motion.
No, I am not blowing. Todd.
Okay.
That
Did you
would be
secretly
highly
revel
inappropriate.
in that baseball thing?
I was working there still at that time, right? And I'm not a sports fan either, but I was rooting for that record to be broken so bad, so those balls would become instantly worthless.
Instantly
I remember
worth-
being at a bar watching a band one night, watching the TV the whole freaking night. Like, please, because we got screwed out of bonuses, overtime, all this, and he's out dropping $5 million on baseball. So when
Yeah.
It was like a year,
Wow.
wasn't it? Like a year or something? It wasn't that long.
yeah, it was about a year because then he went and put the balls on tour. So while we're not getting paid, he had a van going to all famous ballparks all over the country displaying the balls.
He spent all your articulation money on
Yeah.
balls, man.
That's it.
Fabio, what was part 2?
Well, part 2 is you guys were talking about the evolution of action figures. Mr. OG, you've talked about this before.
Yes.
Mezco, the 112 Collective, is what a lot of people are calling, kind of the future of where action figures are going, at least in a 6-inch scale, taking, the cloth goods with highly articulated bodies. Randy, as somebody who works in the industry, I know you guys do a little bit of the cloth clothing, but in a higher scale. Do you think that sort of action figure, that, really high deluxe designer action figure will ever overtake what's on retail shelves, such as like for Marvel Legends and maybe even your stuff?
I don't think so. I mean, I think it's a great brand, and I like what Mez is doing. It's cool that this far into their career, like they have this other niche that they created, and it's doing well. And I think it's cool. I have a few of them, but it's too expensive. I think that's the problem. It's never going to cross over enough to overtake. It's like basically an in between now from what we do and what someone like Sideshow or Hot Toys does. So it's good, and it's in a great scale for your Marvel Legends and your Star Wars Black Series and all that, but most people do not want to drop $70 or $80 on a figure.
And I'll be honest with you, Fabio, you must be a toy collector, I'm assuming, in some capacity, but I even think that even the $20 price point, $25 price point that you're getting on a Legends figure, to some people, that's still an adverse price. There are some people out there, think about parents buying toys for their kids, right? Like I'm a dad, I buy a toy for my son. Like I don't want to buy him a $25 action figure when I know the very first thing he's going to do is like pull an arm off. And I'm fine with that. Like toys are meant to be played with. He should have fun with it. But it's a lot easier for me to buy a $5 figure and have him do it than buy a $25 figure. He's 6.
Okay.
Or
Matt, you shouldn't be buying
24.
Marvel Legends in the first place.
well, look, I don't necessarily buy him Marvel Legends. That doesn't mean he doesn't have a lot of Marvel Legends. I'm just saying I don't buy them. But but he's got a ton of Star Wars toys and he's got a ton of stuff. But it's hard. Like I couldn't buy him a $20. I wouldn't buy him a $20 Star Wars figure, you know what I mean? Like he really likes stormtroopers, which is my worst fucking nightmare because God forbid he becomes a troop builder. But he really likes stormtroopers. I would never buy him a Black Series stormtrooper, like a big one. I'd buy him little ones.
I'll buy him one.
Yeah,
I've got about 40 of them.
I'll buy him like the 5 POA figure, the little 5 points of articulation figures, because they're cheap and he can have those. But I don't think the Mezco figures will ever take over mainstream. They're just too adverse to the average
aside
collector.
from price, there is also this stigma amongst a lot of toy collectors that as soon as there's cloth in there, it's a doll. It's not a figure, or it's not cool anymore.
Yeah.
They don't like the mix of
very
soft goods. They want all plastic, PVC, and ABS, and that's it. You throw in, fabric or spandex in the case of these Lotto 112s, and now it's too close to a Barbie or something.
I talked to some of the guys who make the Star Wars toys for Nerdist, and I can't think of their names now because it's been a few months, so pardon me. But they have a new line of, I said fashion dolls, and they were like, no. They're not fashion
for Forces
dolls.
of Destiny.
Yeah,
Right.
they called them adventure figures because they are kind of, I know, but they're a cross between like the fashion dolls that I grew up with and like an action figure. They have more articulation. The girls have like a karate action or something where like you could put the staff and raise hands and she can like swack someone with it. And but they have cloth clothes. They have the what do you call it when the hair is
like
embedded?
the rooted hair.
The rooted hair, yeah. And they're like. They're more of a doll, but they don't want to call them a doll because they want boys to buy them, basically.
Right.
That's not what they said. That was my understanding. But it was like, and I get it that you don't, like, because we have all these gendered terms because of the 80s and blah, blah, blah. I get it. But, like, it's a beautiful and cool looking toy.
Right.
Just,
I'll probably buy the Sabine one just because it's Sabine. But
that's cool, yeah.
Yeah, but, like, that stigma is always so funny to me because I've heard it too. But, like, if you go back far enough, like who's not getting a good Mego figure?
Right.
If you're like a Batman collector, who's not seeking out a Batman Mego figure because it has cloth?
But back in the day, it was the same problem. They didn't want to call them dolls; they wanted to call them action figures, so that boys would be like, "Oh, okay, I'm not playing with dolls."
Right.
Of course,
I'm astounded that it's the same problem decades later with adults.
Yeah. Well, but I mean, because we were taught that. I mean, like, it's interesting. There was an episode of Adam Room's Everything that talked about when toys became so divided. They were talking specifically about video games and how because the way toy stores in the 80s were like, okay, we're redesigning. There's going to be a girls section and a boys section. Video games had to decide what gender they were going to be for, and they picked boys. And so then all the marketing went toward boys, which is why you saw all those Nintendo and Atari, whatever. It was always like boys being like, video games, and like girls could not exist in those ads at all.
Hey, there's princesses in there.
But I mean,
There's
there's
Zelda.
They rescue a
in the
princess?
games, but in the ads, it was always boys playing.
it was always
them.
boys playing.
And so like
In
that's
the Sears catalog, Eric.
right. And
White
so
boys.
it installed in a generation that there are boys' toys and there are girls' toys, and it's like there's tons of studies that show if you put a kid in a room and I'm like, here are toys, like girls will play with trucks and boys will play with dolls, and it doesn't mean necessarily anything.
Sure.
They're kids. They play hell. They play with a spoon. What do you say that means?
So are you saying dolls
They're
will
a
not
Tick fan?
turn?
I'm saying,
boy gay.
I'm saying you
That
can
won't
buy
happen?
an adventure figure for your son, and it
Don't tell him
won't.
it's a doll, though.
Yeah, don't. Mostly just because like one of your crazy uncles will freak the fuck out.
All that shit is so like brought on by parents, though. It
Yeah.
really is.
It
yeah.
is.
Oh,
I
I
see it
remember-
with, my kids are
Yeah.
7 and 3, and it's the parents that perpetuate these stereotypes or these
Hey,
classifications.
Fabio, I'm going to put you on hold. I'm going to see if we can hook you up with something. You don't have anything we can hook Fabio up
I
with,
brought
do
a
you?
whole box of stuff. I always come with gifts. Plus, it's an anniversary,
Oh,
We'll
Santa
give Fabio
Randy's
something.
here.
We'll
What
give
can
Fabio
we throw
something.
Fabio's way?
We got Preacher, we got Predator, we've got Godzilla.
Any of that sound good, Fabio?
I love Predator. Randy, you know this.
Yeah, I got some 30th anniversary stuff here with Dutch and the Predator. We'll send you something.
Oh, thank you so much, guys. Well, appreciate you taking my call.
No problem.
Thanks,
We're going to
Erik.
put you on
Thanks, man.
hold, and then Chris is going to get your information in the back, and we'll send that out to you.
But like I got my son a
We got a break soon. just so
BB-8
you know.
figure. Yeah, just real quick. I got my son a BB-8 figure, and he opened it, and he was really excited to play with it. But the second thing out of his mouth after he played with it for like 2 minutes was like, "Well, where's Ray?" Which is funny, right? And I was like, "Oh, I can get you a Ray. That's not a problem."
get you a Ray.
And I
We'll
got him a
fix this.
Ray.
Yeah.
But but that's just him
Right.
naturally just being
Because he wants to play
right
like the
there.
movie.
Right, and I'm not going to impose
Yeah.
anything on him. He wants Ray. He can have Ray. What the fuck do I care?
Really did
totally.
it immediately disown him.
I
Get out.
thought about dropping him off at the fire station. I know I have 48 hours before it's a problem, so I could change my mind.
But I remember very distinctly, I was at a Walmart once, and a little boy, his mom was like, "You did well in school, so you get to pick a thing." And he went over to the Powerpuff Girls DVD and said, "I want this." And she was like, "That's for girls." And he's like, "They're superheroes. They're cool. They fight monsters."
And Mojo Jojo.
Yeah.
And
Hello.
she was like, "It's for girls. Pick something else." I'm like, I wanted
want
to like
the evil space
intervene and be
monkey.
like, "Shut up! This is a great show. Let him like the
It
Powerpuff
is a
Girls."
great
Like
show.
what he likes.
I would have thought
Yeah.
that until I watched it with my kid, a girl, and I was like, this is a pretty good show.
Yeah, it's a great show.
Yeah. Anyway.
It's funny.
Just so you know, from the last time we talked,
Yes.
I've only watched one episode so far, but I
Of?
started Phineas and Ferb.
Oh, huzzah!
So-
So pleased.
Good on you.
So
We're slowly
um,
making Eric watch all the cartoon shows that we watch.
well, we're
But I-
officially in summer vacation. There's 104
right,
days.
but I got
104 days
sidetracked.
of summer
I got
vacation.
sidetracked because I started watching the first episode, and then I saw an advertisement because I forgot that Glow started.
Oh,
on
I was going to say for Sriracha
So
something.
I'm about halfway through
because-
the season of Glow on Netflix, which is really good. Mark Maron is great in
Did
this
you watch
show.
the documentary on Netflix?
No, I did
Yeah,
not.
That was
it's-
awesome.
It's
I have to watch
amazing.
that.
It's real. Like you want something to bring you back to like that moment, that time. This is it. Like
Yeah.
shit. You were like, I totally forgot about this.
I remember I was
I gotta
telling
seek that
I was
out.
telling Matt as we were talking about that on the way here that the original Glow wasn't really like at an arena or anything. It was in a conference room at the Riviera Hotel in Vegas.
Right.
So when
Yeah.
they were making their big entrance to the ring, they just opened the conference doors where everybody else would be going to the elevators, and then all the fans are just in little folding chairs, and they're walking through, high-fiving or yelling at the audience, whatever they're doing, with this makeshift dilapidated ring that looks like it's sagging in the center. Like there's no, people complain about wrestling or boxing that the ring doesn't have enough give, but this
Right.
had too much give. Like if you walk to the
Yeah.
center, you see it slooping down
Oh,
like
yeah.
that. But if you can look, I want to see the documentary. The old clips of the show are available on YouTube. You can go and
Yeah, I'll
see
seek
when
it out.
used
I
to
want to
air.
watch. I want to watch Glow because I know someone who's in it. So
that's
I should.
exciting.
I
Yeah,
should watch
somebody
that,
he
yeah.
went to college
Someone I
with
went
is
to
one
college
of the
with is in
girls
it, yeah.
wrestling
Oh, cool.
in there, and
I
it's
haven't
not
gotten
Allison
started
Brie.
yet because it's been. Well, I've told you, Eric. The last 24 hours has been crazy. We can talk about that after the break.
Right.
Busy.
Yeah, we do have to take a break. And then when we come back, we'll talk to the guys from Laser Time about what's going on with their Patreon. Christy reviewed a bunch of movies. She went to a junket today we want to talk about. We also want to get your
gotta get
thoughts
this-
on Star Wars with Ron Howard now at the helm for the Han Solo movie.
And we got to get to San Diego.
Yes, we got Randy with San Diego.
Yeah.
There's still so much more that we have to do. One other thing I want to point out because they made the announcement this week on Howard. On Howard Stern's show, he made the big announcement that SiriusXM is now available on your Amazon Echo.
Yes.
So what you say now is Alexa, play the whatever channel that you're a fan of here or what
Anything
you want to
but
listen to. No, him too. He's all a part of it. But if you just say Alexa, play the Lithium channel on SiriusXM,
Right.
you got to do something with the app, but and link your account. But once you do that, you can get all the channels. You can't get individual programs, but you can get the channels streaming through your Amazon
That's
Echo.
cool.
There you go.
So for us, you would say, Alexa, play the Faction Talk channel on SiriusXM.
you just fucked up a lot of people.
Yes, because now it's
Yeah.
restarting what they're listening to.
Yes.
Sorry about it.
So that's available. And if you want to, later on, you can say, Alexa, play the program. It's Erik Nagel. Give it a moment. It finds the program and then it plays it.
Huzzah.
So that's kind of cool. Let's throw some plugs out there before we go to break. What do you want to plug, Brian?
Can you come back to me? I actually have one thing. I normally don't have anything, but
Okay.
if there's other plugs,
Well, obviously, the Tell 'em Steve
Yeah.
Dave podcast. You can
If you
subscribe
want,
anywhere podcasts or wherever you get your podcasts. You can get it from there. And then they're currently taping is it season 7?
It's season 7, and I came armed with this. If you go to Oh, wow, this is really
for AMC's Comic Book Men.
Comic Book Men casting, if you want to be on the show. Because obviously people just don't walk in with shit all day long. So, and we're going to have like a big event this summer. So if you want to get on the show, go to Comic Book Men casting. And I think they ask you to send a video of yourself and what you're interested in.
So they go to the AMC website?
.com. Did I not say .com?
No.
AMC. No, wait. Comic Book Men.
Casting.
Shit.
Comic Book Men.
Comicbookmencasting.com. Yeah.
There you go.
All right, there you go. So if you want to be on season 7 of Comic Book Men and see all the cool stuff at the secret stash and meet all of the guys.
On the Facebook page.
Yeah, you can meet Ming.
You can meet Ming
If
he's not traveling the world.
already.
Yeah, if he's not at some shithole con in Nowheresville,
Real
USA.
quick, that was the thing when Brian was filling in for a while on Smodcast. They were talking about. Kevin was saying how great it is that Comic Book Men grew into being what it is, and it gave all of them, a chance to do other things and brought in their life. And they were just kind of goofing about how Ming really took the ball and ran with it because he goes to every con.
Everyone.
If you follow his Facebook, you've never seen a guy so happy in his life. He's happy to be wherever he is at.
Yeah, it doesn't matter where he is invited or not, he'll go. Once he's there, he's having the best time ever with whomever. It doesn't matter if they're a celebrity or somebody he just met, like getting a coffee.
He's not like Lonely Virgil. He's
No,
actually
not at
welcome.
all.
Yeah.
There's people at Ming's table.
Yes.
And of course, you can go to was it NECAonline.com for
the website, yeah.
For the website,
and
and it's
official on Facebook and Instagram.
and you can talk
And
to
Twitter
Randy.
as well, right?
Yeah, NECA Toys on
They made a
Twitter.
bunch of San Diego Comic-Con exclusive
gonna talk
announcements on
about
their
those.
Facebook. We'll get to that after the break, and so much more. So we'll take a break. Be right back.
That's all.
Hey, it's David Brody, executive producer of the nationally syndicated Elvis Duran in the Morning Show. You know what I love about this show? 3 things: Matt, Gittles, and Christy. So, to my friend Erik Nagel and the It's Erik Nagel Show, I'd like to wish you a very happy 3rd anniversary.
Hey, it's Scary Jones from Elvis Duran in the Morning Show. I wanted to wish my friend Erik Nagel and the It's Erik Nagel Show a happy 3rd and final anniversary. How the hell has he flown under the radar for this long?
Hey, this is Elvis Duran. Just want to wish our friend Erik Nagel and the It's Erik Nagel Show a happy anniversary. If we only knew what channel he was on, we would listen. He's not going to hear this, right?
It's Erik Nagel. It's Erik Nagel. More next. It's Erik Nagel. Hey guys, it's Rich, your voice guy. Congratulations, 3 years. Truth be told, I was thinking 2, maybe 3 weeks tops, a month at the most. Especially after Anthony was fired, I thought the whole thing was going to be sports talk. At some point, you had me do a piece with Mr. Burns talking about ketchup. I thought, okay, this is the end. But hey, what do I know? Anyway, congrats on becoming the 2nd longest running show on this channel, behind Weird Medicine, which of course isn't saying much. I mean, don't get me wrong, Dr. Steve's awesome. You had this thing about IBS the other week that I really learned a lot about, but that's neither here nor there. Anyway, happy 3rd anniversary. Give Dr. Steve my number. I got this thing, well, whatever.
Welcome back to It's Erik Nagel. Erik,
happy music.
Matt OG, Christy Puchko. Also joining us from AMC's Comic Book Men and the Tell 'em Steve Dave podcast, Brian Johnson. And from NECA Toys, our pal Randy. We got to get into his San Diego announcements in just a little bit, and then Christy's movie stuff. Somebody saw a movie that I'm actually quite jealous of.
You know how many movies I saw this week? New movies?
Many movies.
7. I saw 7 fucking movies this week, guys. Yeah. And
At one
some
time,
of them are awesome.
At one time, I feel like that would have been a dream, but
It
I
depends.
don't know.
It depends. A lot of them were over 2 hours, and sometimes that makes me wish my own death. But but some of them I can talk about, and we'll talk about them a little bit.
Spider-Man. All right, let's go to the phones and talk to our pals from the Laser Time Network, Bob Mackey, Henry Gilbert, and Chris Antista. Guys, how are you?
Hello.
Is it not working?
I don't hear him.
Oh, shit.
We're talking to ourselves.
Let's try it again. Let's see if that works there. You guys there?
True.
Yeah.
There they are.
Hi, guys. How are you?
Happy anniversary.
Thank you so much. I'm jealous of these guys. For those who don't know, these guys host a show that I've talked about for many years called Talking Simpsons.
Yeah. For those who don't know, they don't listen to the show because you babble on about them all the time. Love you guys.
Thank you, Eric.
And on the other shows that I work on, when they're like, I don't know what you're talking about. I'm like, no, you need to know about this stuff. So also years ago, I said, remember, I was going to branch out and do other podcasts.
Yes.
Well, then I found their Simpsons podcast. I said, I can't compete with
Never
this.
mind.
These guys are doing too great a job, so I'm just not going to even try, and I'm going to throw all my money towards them, which is what I've been doing. But
literally, though, so it's not super effective. He's just genuinely throwing cash in their direction.
I throw a lot of cash in their direction, so much that they've quit their full-time jobs, and now we're doing this full-time with Patreon.
It is true. Yeah, we just started it last week, and we've got almost 1,000 people signed up already.
It's true,
Wow.
almost 6,000.
With multiple tiers, as we were explaining earlier, for different, perks and ways you can contribute and what have you. But I got to ask you guys about taking the step of quitting your job to go do this. Like, what goes through your head to say, hey, I think we can financially support ourselves by doing this? And were you terrified as you did it?
Well, it's easy to do when your job is really bad.
Yeah.
And you've made money on podcasts before, and for me at least, this is Bob speaking, it was a very easy decision to make, and having a bad job kind of pushed me towards it a lot harder.
Yeah, Bob and I both were working at the same place, and we had the same thought of, like, I just want to quit. And they were like, well, we quit and then started a Patreon, we wouldn't have to get new jobs. Like, that would just be it. And the place we were at, I'm not going to name it, but man, PU.
Language. And just, I've been subsisted off crowdfunding for the last 2 years. It's kind of like if you're making something niche and something a marketing executive would tell you is unprofitable, it might have a future in crowdfunding, because that means it won't exist unless people who want to hear it support it.
Something as specific as what we're doing can't be supported by traditional ads.
Yeah.
You have to find the audience who wants it and wants it to happen.
You had a pitch to do a show based on a show that was canceled 20 years ago.
That's true.
For the critic.
Talking critic.
Yeah.
The
I
Critic
love
was
The Critic.
was a spin-off. It wasn't really a spin-off. The people who were originally part of the creation of The Simpsons in the early years left to go form
Right.
The Critic. So as they call it a companion piece to The Simpsons. And
It feels
sorry,
so
go ahead.
similar to it's the people who are responsible for the golden years of The Simpsons. I get the jokes mixed up together all the time.
Mm-hmm.
I love
But
that
it's all-
show. I mean, like, I'm a film critic, so that show speaks to me on a lot of levels. But like, I was actually rewatching a bunch of clips the other day because I have to like explain film criticism a lot, and I was like, can I just send them clips of this show? And the short answer is yes. Yes, I can.
Nice.
Was it the one with the joke about a separate buffet table for Roger Ebert?
I like the jokes about free clothing you get for reviews.
Very similar to reviewing.
I am actually no. I had two free shirts that I could have worn today, and I chose to wear the one that has my name on it instead. But I paid for this. So that's something.
You're supporting your own Patreon.
That's
I
right.
just want to say, what a world where somebody is like, what do you do for a living? You're like, yeah, I talk about The Simpsons. Like, that's it. That's what you do. That's awesome.
They're almost done through season 5. Like, they've talked every single episode. They've also taken little pit stops to do a Duckman episode, the Critic episode. And now, because of what they're doing full-time with Patreon, they're going to start all these other offshoot series with the Critic, with Duckman.
Oh, I love
And
The
then
Critic.
they're also, one of the tiers, you get to suggest where they go next. And before I even paid, I already flooded them with a bunch of things. Like, you need to go with The Tick and Harvey Birdman and Freakazoid and those kind of things.
We have so many demands that will keep us in business for decades. And there are so many cartoons out there. But we've hit our Talking Critic tier, and right now that's a Patreon exclusive show, but we have one episode available to the public as sort of a test run to let you know, like, we can do this with other shows. I think we've proven it.
Oh, that's cool.
I want to do every cartoon ever in the way we do it, because with The Simpsons, we do just... I've obsessed about the show since it first aired when I was, 8, and I want to deconstruct every joke and explain all these jokes that I didn't understand before, or like a word that's said that made no sense to me when I first watched it.
Yeah, if you never heard the show, we play clips from the Simpsons, but also go into every joke. Because the Simpsons have been on so long, there's references to long dead people.
Yeah.
Including whatever Mr. Burns says is one of my favorite things in the universe to do. It implies that he 3,000 years old.
You do need the Oxford English for that.
Like the baseball episode where he's looking for ringers and he goes, "Scowl the Negro Leagues." It's like, what? Those have been long gone, sir.
I also like whenever someone, like, there's one episode where Homer makes a Rashomon joke, and it's so niche, where he's like, that's not the Rashomon that I remember, which, if you got that joke, congratulations, but it's like a total film school nerd joke, and it makes me so happy.
Our last episode we recorded has we had to do a lot of research on Klaus von Bülow. I think I spent 30 minutes researching. I mean, that was kind of before my time. I'm like, who is this guy? What does this joke mean? And I spent about 30 minutes. I watched part of the Jeremy Irons movie about him. That's how to understand every joke and explain every joke.
And right before that, there was a Last Action Hero reference. We're like, all right, Paul, we talked for 15 minutes. 15 minutes.
Love that movie.
Yeah.
Suddenly just talking about The Simpsons all day, it sounds slightly less appealing now that I know that you had to watch a Jeremy Irons movie for 30 minutes of research.
But he suffered for the art, Matt.
He did. I'm glad that he did it, so I didn't have to.
There you go. That's why you kick into the Patreon.
That is. What is the link to the Patreon? Let's give that out so if people are interested in any of this stuff, they can support and help you guys out.
Oh, sure. That's patreon.com/TalkingSimpsons. And if you go there, you can watch our video where we give you the pitch, and you can contribute on any level. The $5 level will give you the bonus shows. So I think that's like our most popular level. $10 will get you more stuff, but you can give as much as you want. That's the glory of capitalism.
And you don't have to give as much in return when you're not assigned to a certain level. You can just say, it's a donation.
Yay!
We'll take $1 a month from you, just if you want to be nice.
Yeah. It's a good way to have the things you like continue to exist is by supporting them directly.
Now, the Talking Simpsons stuff and everything else that they're trying to do here branched off a different network called Laser Time, which I've also been a fan of for a while. And they do a whole bunch of different things. One I've talked about on this show, and I even talked about on Opie's show, called 30-20-10, which is a look at pop culture of the week 30 years ago, 20 years ago, 10 years ago. And Laser Time also has a Patreon, so you can support all those different programs. So it's not like you're cutting out Talking Simpsons and then you're going to lose that revenue. The money goes to different things, but it's all in the same family.
Yeah, it's all in the same family. And 30-20-10 is just such a fun show to do. Especially, it's very ADD because we don't have to focus on anything for more than a couple of seconds. And just for example, it's that week, 30 years ago, 20 years ago, and 10 years ago, we came across a triple shot of Vincent D'Onofrio.
Yeah, we had Babysitting and then Men in Black.
He plays Thor, air quotes, in Adventures in Babysitting directly into Full Metal Jacket within 6 days, and then 10 years from that plays the villain in Men in Black. And it just made we don't give Vincent D'Onofrio enough love.
Yeah,
that's true.
So you have all of that. Oh, sorry, go ahead.
We have all that, and we have a topic-based show called Laser Time, which I might cancel because I did the show that I've always wanted to do, which was about the history of fart jokes. And I just hammer fart buttons all episode long. Just that the first thing, one of the first things in the written word was a Sumerian fart joke. It just makes me so happy.
Did you ever, in that vein, do you ever do or discuss the topic that the reuse of certain sound effects in everything? Like, there's a sound effect that's been out there.
The Wilhelm scream?
I think that's the one where it's in almost every fight trailer, every kind of old TV show, old movie.
I attribute that scream solely to Goofy going off the ski jump. That's it.
I don't know that's the first one, but that's the one that stuck to me as a kid. So every time I hear it, I'm like, that's really distracting.
But there's...
That's because Disney lost the voiceover artist of Goofy. He left the company. And so they couldn't really do anything. So Goofy stopped talking, and the only thing he could do was make that,
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
There you go. Look at that.
It is awesome just because if you can find the clip it was originally used, it is a man being shot in the knee with an arrow and giving out the weakest, effeminate scream take in the universe. And it's become like a rite of passage for Foley artists in Hollywood.
Not that with dignity, that guy.
Yeah, he did not.
It sounds like also where what's his name, Charlie, who does the Mario voice. Seems that's where he got that from too.
Oh God.
Yeah.
We did an interview. He's a very nice man, but we did an interview with him a couple of years ago at Florida SuperCon, and I'm on stage and we're doing the interview. And in the middle of the interview, he can't stop doing the Mario voice, right? He's just making the noise so that the crowd reacts, and they're shooting, they're doing the voice back at him. So it's going back and forth. Then he starts bringing kids dressed up in costumes up on stage. I'm like, what is going on here? I'm trying to do an interview with this guy. And the guy he's nuts. He's a very nice man, but he's just nuts and just went on his own path. And I said, okay, I guess this is over. Charlie, I forget his last name, but Charlie, whatever, everybody. And I just kind of left. I said, this guy is batshit crazy.
I sat 2 tables away from him at a con, and he played that Mario music on a loop for like 6 straight hours.
No.
It's unbelievable.
Whoa.
And you could hear him.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That
I
would
didn't
hurt
even
me
know Mario had a
emotionally.
voice until I saw him at the con. I didn't.
It's the one, like, not unlike The Simpsons, Charles Martinet doing Mario is like one of the most consistent voice actors in animation or voiceover history.
Yeah,
Well,
like 20 years or something, right?
It's not other voices.
Yeah, I hate to be a geek here, but it is the French pronunciation is Martinet.
Martinet.
Charles Martinet. I've interviewed him too. He is a real ham. He's a nice guy. He's a nice guy. But yeah.
I was just going to ask if he was insane but I mean, if you only see
if you
clips of
play
him doing
Mario
Mario
for 2 decades straight,
Something is wrong.
No, if you get the chance to go to any convention that he's there, just if you'll be within earshot no matter where he is, and at least once half an hour you hear the loud hoo-hoo,
It's
and
a
it just
him,
doesn't
Mario.
stop.
Oy.
Didn't 23 they like hit him in a booth and
That's actually how he started the role. He was doing that at E3, just doing improv all day as Mario while they made a 3D animated head talk.
Yeah, you should look stupid.
So that was before he actually
Yeah.
He was doing improv on the floor as a giant floating head.
Yeah.
That's hilarious.
I would just hand my phone. Hey, can you insult my kid as Mario?
Yeah, that's it.
I'm not paying the $5.
Say things Mario shouldn't, please. Thank
No.
you.
Patreon.com/Talking Simpsons to help these guys out. It's really for a good cause, especially for some of the projects that they're working on coming up. I'm very excited about, and they just do amazing work. One other thing was we have Randy here from NECA Toys, and NECA had the license for the last run of Simpsons figures, which is the box we sent out to you guys.
Yeah.
Did you guys wind up giving that all away, or is it decorating the studio there?
Not all of them.
We haven't given them all away yet. We didn't keep them.
I'm sitting on the REM. I don't know why.
I'm seeing Tom Jones right now.
Who would have thought there'd be a Peter Buck action figure?
And a big shout out to NECA Toys. I got the Comic-Con Ninja Turtle thing. Like
the arcade one. Yeah,
I love it.
Greatest.
Awesome. Thank you.
Wait, the brand new one?
Yeah, we did a pre-order this week for
Pre-order if you're not going to be at San Diego.
Oh, so he ordered it. He doesn't have
he'll get it
because
during
I'm
the
seeing
con.
Matt grip the table here with anger.
Yeah.
No. I'll be there preview night. Don't you worry.
I received a lot of death threats and curses and all sorts of stuff this week from angry fans who were not able to get in on the pre-order. So
sorry, but that's the way exclusives work.
As we get, we got to wrap up here, guys. But as we do that, one last suggestion for a talking series. How about Talking Comic Book Men before Kevin Smith does it?
Is Hardwick available?
Ooh.
I write for Nerdist. I'll send an email. I'm sure that'll get right to him.
Ask Chris if he'll do that. I mean, the way they do our show is they play it once and then it's never seen again until maybe it goes on Netflix, like a season. I'm not really sure why. I know we're in South America, like in 7 different countries, because we did like press
Oh
for
no,
that.
they're treating your show like the sports merchandise for the losing teams.
But
they're sending it over.
Sending it to other
to other countries.
They know they can though, because they know that like we'll do it. They know we're like super low maintenance, so they're like, fuck it.
Did they send Ming down to South America?
No, we did it on Skype. But if anyone was going to go, it was going to be him. He would have went happily, and he never would have come back.
All right, guys. Patreon.com/Talking Simpsons. And, of course, you can support the other Laser Time shows. Patreon.com/LaserTime. We've been talking with Bob Mackey, Henry Gilbert, and Chris Antista. Guys, best of luck to you, and I'll still be listening. Thank you so much, man.
Thank you, and happy anniversary.
Happy anniversary.
Thank you. Take care. Those are good guys.
They seem like good eggs.
They are. When you have... Not just that it's your job, but when you have a passion for research,
right?
And they're like, let's research everything that we love.
All the things.
And now they get to do it as their livelihood. That's amazing.
And you said there's 3 guys?
It's well, they have a
Or
whole
2 guys?
team of people, but for that particular show, Talking Simpsons, it's just the 3 guys.
Just the 3 guys.
Just the 3 guys.
So whatever they make, they got to split 3 ways.
Well, that's why they started the second Patreon. Because the other 2 guys had full-time jobs, they quit them, and now they're doing that as their full-time job. And it's weird too. The whole Laser Time thing is a house in San Francisco. So all the rooms have like different studios. It's weird.
That is
It
weird.
looks almost like I'm imagining it's almost like the Big Brother house.
Oh, jeez.
Yeah, but if you go, oh, that bedroom's another studio,
That's
and the
the-
kitchen is, for
That's the Simpsons
green room for the
studio, yeah.
guests.
That's crazy.
But that's the way to do it.
Yeah, look, if you can do it
You
that
have the
way,
means.
if you have it, yeah,
Yeah.
absolutely.
Let's transition over to Randy here with San Diego Comic-Con stuff, because we're going to be out there about a month from now.
3 weeks?
3 weeks.
Less than a month.
3 weeks. We're going to be out there for San Diego Comic-Con, and NECA was one of the first people to make a whole bunch of announcements with exclusives. What do we have here, Randy?
The big one, the one that Matt's been drooling over. I should have brought it for you to drool over it some more. Is Ninja Turtles. We did this really cool box set for the 30th anniversary of the cartoon.
Right.
So it's like a vinyl carry case, like the kind they used to make in the 80s. And you open it up, and there's 2 different trays inside with 8 different figures in it. Tray 1 is your 4 turtles with all sorts of accessories and pizza and turtle communicator and everything. And they actually look like they do in the Fred Wolf cartoon, and they're actually painted like they look in the Fred Wolf cartoon, and they're superposable. And then the tray underneath that is what everyone's crazy about, and that's Shredder and the Foot Clan and Krang and the Bubble Walker.
Yeah.
And they have tons of weapons and accessories too, extra hands, and
We were talking about that casing, that big thing.
Well,
right?
that's right. So the figures are all amazing. Like
Yeah.
there's no doubt, but the case,
right?
That nostalgic case is just that like seals the deal.
Now, before you answer, we were talking about this because you thought it was a Hot Wheels thing, and I think it's based on like the old He-Man container that used to have
and there
like
was
that.
a Turtles one that was red and had the Turtles
Oh,
had
I
a
didn't
carry
know
case
that.
too in '89. So the artwork is all new,
Yeah.
and the artwork actually has like the San Diego Convention Center behind it and palm trees
Oh,
and all
that's
that.
cool.
Well, no, when I said Hot Wheels, I was thinking of like that foam
Yeah, I
kind
know
of
what you mean.
plastic
Yeah.
that you opened up and they had the trays
Oh,
inside.
right.
Like that's
Okay.
what I
Yeah.
that's what
I
I
mean,
meant.
Kenner did them with Star Wars
Yeah,
too in
right.
the '70s. Everyone had them, and Joe and He-Man and Turtles.
Does it have the
around-
little lock thing where
It has 2
goes
buckles.
over the thing?
It's almost it's 2 buckles. So what's going to be awesome for us is just to see like thousands of people walking around San Diego Comic-Con holding that little handle
Yeah.
Yeah.
and the cases. And like you said, it is nostalgia. That's what we thrive on. That's we do the new stuff, but the nostalgia and the old stuff is what I'm all about. So when we can do something like that, the figures are awesome, but then come up with a cool way to package it and market it and everything, and it's just like it resonates with people.
And I've said it before, but hands down, you guys do the best Turtles. Like it's like I just have all of them. They're just always so awesome. So that set is so great. The
Thank
case
you.
though really sealed the deal for me.
It's insane. We did a thing this year which we haven't been able to do in the past. So for those who don't know, the items we make are only available at San Diego Comic-Con.
Right.
This year we were able to do like an online pre-order for non-attendees because it's pretty tough to get into the
Right.
convention that
Yeah.
sells out the year before.
But you didn't do that last year.
We did not. We weren't allowed to for one, and then the success of last year's arcade set was so good that we were like,
Why weren't you allowed to?
There's a lot of
It's licensing issues.
It's licensing issues because Playmates is the master toy license
Right.
holder for Turtles since day one, and they have a lot of say over
Including
what
the
else
Nickelodeon line now?
Yeah,
Okay.
everything. So anything we make can't go to retail. It has to be like con only, and in this case, con only with some direct to consumer, but for that limited window of when the con is. So we did an online pre-order and allocated an amount Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday,
Right.
and we had sellouts within like the first day was 2 minutes, the next day was 1 minute, and the next day was
Wow.
1 minute.
Yeah.
And look, so those people who got in are going to be able to get the thing shipped to them during Comic-Con, and they're going to get it. But it's like you can't win because I have a bunch of fans telling me
Right.
Of
that I
course.
don't know what exclusive means anymore since I gave them an opportunity to get it without going to the show.
Right.
And then I have
Oh,
another
and-
set that hate me because they weren't fast enough, or they're got
Oh.
taken out of their cart when they're trying to check out because they didn't think to be logged into PayPal already, or have
Oh no!
copy and paste. Like it's
yeah.
No, that would work
like I
me
just
up
had
so
to.
hard.
I just had
shit.
to just take a little social media break this week
Yeah.
because
Good for
you know
you.
I
I don't
can
like
relate.
seeing.
Real quick side note on that: trying for Conan O'Brien tickets.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I'm like, I go through the Conan site and I go through there. There had another separate site, a third-party site that was handling the tickets, IOTA, IOTA,
Yeah,
or
something
something like that. And then I'm like, okay, cool. And then you go click here to get in the queue to hopefully get tickets. And then it said, oh, you need to register. I'm like, no, I didn't know I had to register through this. The email for Conan's thing said go through our site.
You always
that's
register
nerve-wracking.
first.
So I'm sitting there, I'm racking through and register. So we're still in the waiting queue for one of those days.
Yikes.
So
You're
that's
in your
nerve-wracking.
third year. You don't have any back channels. You could talk to somebody.
maybe we do. I just didn't want to bring that up. But who knows? We'll be going to Conan.
So this thing that you're the
turtle thing?
the pre-order, the turtle
Yeah.
thing, is it different at all than the one that someone would get in a con? Like, is it a
the one-
variant or
it's
is it
the same thing?
Exactly
so
the same
we
thing.
basically took our inventory and said like X amount will go to the con and X
earmarked.
amount we'll send direct to.
Gotcha.
Yeah, so it's the same thing. It's for those who can't make it to San Diego, and they're paying the shipping on
Right.
top of it. So in a way, it does cost them more, but it doesn't cost them as more as flying out there and paying for a
Right.
hotel
But
and dealing with the nonsense.
I feel like you guys, because you're so active on social media, right? You kind of line yourselves up to take a lot of the brunt of
Right.
this stuff, because it's not like NECA is the first company that has ever offered San Diego exclusives outside of San Diego.
Everyone does
Hasbro
it.
does it every year. Mattel
Mattel
does it every year, and those are the big two.
Yeah.
Like those are the biggest, right? And then there are a lot of smaller companies that do it too. After the con, during the con, before that, like
Right.
you're just, I mean, you're right. You're damned if you do, damned if you don't. You're finally giving people an opportunity that can't afford to go to the opportunity to get something.
Right.
And if you're buying this shit and the only reason you're buying it is because, oh, it has the exclusive label on it, and now you're pissed at Randy or NECA because it's no longer officially exclusive, then chances are your intention is to flip it and you somehow feel like that devalues it. Well, then don't fucking buy it. If you're going to flip it, don't buy it.
Right.
Passion. I
there
love the passion.
Because there are plenty of people who legit want it that want it just to have it. They
Yeah.
don't want to flip it or anything
Another
else.
tie-in, I guess it's a sister company, Kid Robot.
Right,
It's
yep.
in the NECA family there. Had a thing for some exclusive figures
The Homer,
this
right?
week, and they had a Jade Homer.
Homer.
So it said it was going to be available on this day at this time. I go through. I went through and I got one.
Right.
So I was like, after 5 minutes, I'm like, cool, got it. I go, I wonder if it's on eBay already. And it's only maybe been half an hour since
Right.
the thing opened up on their website. I
sure.
looked. There were 3 postings already for over $100 each.
Yeah, of course.
And I'm like, I just spent $10 on this thing
It's
here.
the nature of flippers.
Yeah, horrible stuff.
Sadly.
We're running out of time, so let's go through
Run
the rest
through
of
the
what
rest.
you got here.
Sure, we have a really cool Dutch from Predators this summer. Is the 30th anniversary of Predators. We wanted to do one that we've never done before and one that really wouldn't work at retail. So we did Dutch in his red polo shirt when he sees Dylan for the first time and does the epic handshake. And that's pretty cool. And there's like a little die cut of Dylan's arm. So they're he's packaged
funny.
in the pose. So it's kind of fun.
That's awesome.
And we did Death from Bill and Ted's Bogus Journey.
That looks pretty
wow.
cool.
Which is pretty cool. Again, something that doesn't go great for retail,
Yeah.
but it's a perfect thing for a con.
Sure.
And then we have an Alien, which is really, you'll appreciate this one. It's really out there. It's an alien in a yellow and orange color scheme that was in the Simpsons arcade games and the Turtles arcade games. One of the later ones.
Yeah.
It's technically still an alien, but those who played these old, like the old Konami 4-player.
Right.
Yeah.
It was in Turtles in Time,
Yep.
and I think the third one, and there's a Simpsons game that I believe it showed up in as well.
Damn it! Now I have 2 things I want to get because the other one is your Coraline figure.
Yeah, so last but not least, we're doing a big thing with Leica. We'll have a big display in the booth. Leica are the people behind Paranorman, Coraline, Kubo.
Box trolls.
Frankenweenie, right?
No, that isn't
No,
them.
Oh,
That's
that's
not
not them.
That's not
Oh,
them.
okay.
That's a Burton thing. But
This is not. Is this the first time you're doing a Coraline
we
piece?
did Coraline back.
You did,
in
right?
its
There was like
theatrical
4 or
release.
5 of them.
Yeah.
Yeah,
but we're
I think I've
doing-
got like 2 or 3 of those. Yeah.
Yeah, back when it released theatrically, but we're now going to do kind of an all-encompassing Leica program with all the different films.
That's amazing.
And we're kicking it off at Comic-Con with a big display and a special Coraline, special packaging with LED lights and stuff like that. It's cool.
Love Coraline.
So if you want to check out everything that Randy's just been talking about here, you go to facebook.com/NECA Online.
NECA Official.
NECA Official.
Yeah, or on NECAonline.com or Instagram or Twitter. It's all on there.
Some of them you can pre-order.
The pre-orders are all gone.
Oh,
they were Tuesday through Thursday. They're all gone. Come out to San Diego or,
take your chance on eBay.
Yeah, take your chances on eBay or
find a mule.
Yeah, and we're debuting a bunch of new stuff out there. A bunch of new license announcements. We're showing our Blade Runner line for the first time out there. So we've got a ton of really cool surprises.
Are you going to do something hidden in the display cases again?
Probably. We do every year.
He does every year, and last year's one
was a baby turtle, wasn't it?
It was, yeah. And the year before was the Contra capsule.
The Contra capsule. That's the one I remember. I'm like, oh my god.
Yeah, we hid the Contra power-up capsule inside the Predator forest to let people know we were doing Contra. Yeah, there's always some Easter egg hidden. Yeah, good memory.
Eric, if you want that Coraline, I'll give you my eBay name later on. All right.
All right. I want to go to the phones real quick. David in Ohio is a big Brian Johnson fan. David, how are you?
I'm all right. Yourself?
Doing all right.
Hey, David.
Hey, Brian. It's really good to hear your voice because I planned an Aunt Moot and Warren. I had a bunch of people say they were coming out, and other than my wife and the bartender, it is an empty, dead night.
You're there right now?
Yeah.
Oh, wow. The listeners do these things called Ant Moots because, the followers are the ants.
The ants, right.
The listeners are the ants. And so they get a thing together, like a gathering. That we had when I went to Scotland, we did one. There was like 60 people there. It was a lot more than who's there right now. So people said they were going to come and they didn't?
Yep.
I think it's you, dude. No offense.
You're probably right.
It probably is.
And where is it? Warren where?
Warren, Ohio.
Ohio.
Or maybe it's Ohio.
Would you like to call out some of them on their by their Twitter name?
Nah, I don't want to get anyone targeted, but the real kick in the teeth of it is
so much nicer than ours.
My wife and I, we designed drinks for some of the main people on the show, and we coordinated with the bar to make sure they're available, and we made up little charts for them, and I was going to mail someone to the store for you, and I've been through the list without anyone here. I've had the Flanagan, the Brian Johnson, the Q, and the Mike and Mig.
That's great that you have your own drink. Are you seeing any kickback from that?
I'm not. In fact, I'm going to need all your information so we can start litigation.
For the lawsuit.
Brian's about to start doxing you, my friend.
Thanks for
calling. You're welcome.
All right, thanks, David.
Sorry about that, dude. At least you're drunk.
We are running out of time.
Yeah,
Today's show went really fast. So here's what I'm going to do for next week. All right? We're going to pave the way and clear everything out so that next week Brian Shea is going to be on talking about everything that happened at E3. And then Christy has so many movie things that we have to get to. One is coming up. She went to go see Spider-Man. She can't give a review on it right now.
I can talk about it next Thursday fully, but can I talk a little? Do we have time for me to talk a little bit about what happened last night? Okay.
Sure.
So this week there's a lot of reviews out. I wrote a lot of reviews this week. You can go to decadentcriminals.com and I have the highlights of all of them, including The Bad Batch, The Big Sick, The Beguiled, Okja, Velvet Goldmine, Transformers. It's all there. But the one I want to talk about is The Bad Batch, which is from Anna Lily Amirpour, who made A Girl Walks Home Alone at Night a couple of years ago, which was the Iranian vampire movie that was also a spaghetti western. And now she has a new movie out with Jason Momoa and Keanu Reeves and Giovanni Ribisi. And yeah, it's Aquaman. No, it's called The Bad Batch, and it's a dystopian movie about cannibals in this wasteland. And it's super weird, and it's playing in limited release, and I think it's streaming in some venues, so check it out. But they asked me, I'm a big fan of the movie. I wrote a review for Nerdist. And because of my review, her team read it and they were like, oh, like she gets it. She understands what this movie is. So they asked me to host a Q&A with her at the Alamo Draft House in Brooklyn, which was really exciting for me. I had never done a Q&A before. I've interviewed tons of people, but as you know, Eric, like a Q&A live in front of an audience is a different deal. And I was a little nervous. But it was a lot of fun. So last night I went to go see Spider-Man because I did the junket today, and we can talk about that next week. But then right after, I ran to Brooklyn, and they have this really cool bar there called the House of Wax that has all these weird morbid anatomy things. And I got to meet Anna, and we did the junket, or we did the Q&A. It went really well. It was an absolute blast, and it was so much fun to meet her. I have an Instagram post about it. I got to talk to her, and she was like, I read your review, and I was like, she gets it. I made this movie for her. And it's a weird thing when you watch a movie, and you're like, this person knows all the weird shit I like and put it in one movie. But, like, that's what The Bad Batch was for me.
And then she was banned from every other screening.
Yeah, I'm not allowed to go back. But, yeah, it went really great. You can find my review of that on Nerdist. You can find pictures on Instagram of Anna. She was awesome. I'm really excited. I really recommend The Bad Batch if you just like bonkers fucking movies. And she told us some fun stories that I'll try to catch you guys up on next week, because she told us stuff about Keanu Reeves and like Jason Momoa, and Jim Carrey's in the movie, by the way.
Oh.
Yeah, go see The Bad Batch. We'll talk next week.
All right. There it is.
Anything else to top off that plug, or is that everything?
I mean, go to decadentcriminals.com. I have a ton of stuff this week right now. There was a lot of reviews. I have stuff coming up next week for War of the Planet of the Apes. My Spider-Man review will post next Thursday. So look for it there, and we'll talk about it on the show next week.
All right, Matt OG, what do you have?
Geek Stuff OG across all of the social medias and on the PlayStation Network. New episodes of Geek Stuff, the podcast, go up every Thursday or Wednesday night, depending on whether or not I'm motivated. So check that out every week. bkgeekstuff.com for that.
Brian Johnson.
Happy anniversary.
Thank you, Roland.
Thank you, Roland.
Tell 'em Steve Dave podcast with myself and Walt. More importantly, Brian Quinn of Impractical Jokers. And if you want to be on the show, Comic Book Men this summer, go to comicbookmencasting.com. That was
Very
smooth
simple.
that time, right?
Nailed it. Nailed it.
If you just happen to be in the area, go over to the Secret Stash in Red Bank there and check it all out.
Sure.
Before they block it all off for TV shooting. Do they have the big trailers and stuff like they do here in New York? Streets blocked?
The big honey wagons?
Yes.
Oh, yeah. I eat lunch at the poker table exactly where we do the podcast. We're not fancy.
Randy, what do you have?
We have NECAonline.com, NECA Official on Instagram and Facebook, and then NECA Toys on Twitter. Constantly updating. We'll do sneak previews before San Diego, coverage during San Diego. I know we'll talk to you during San Diego as well, so a lot of stuff going on.
Yes, come to San Diego and have a good time.
And we'll share a bunch of the stuff on the Facebook page that they've put out so far, some of the blog posts for the San Diego exclusive, so you can get a look at them.
And thank you to our pal Jung for some new beers that we are going to try out right after the show here. Lots of fun. For me, it's E-Rock Radio across the board and on Xbox Live. For the show, it's Erik Nagel across the board. Subscribe to the YouTube, to the Facebook. Also, Alexa, play the program It's Erik Nagel. And then there you go. It'll give you the latest episode of the show. Also, Radio Faction Talk.
Yep.
Ask for Faction Talk. It's all tied in through Sirius XM.
And we didn't talk about it at all on the show, but we have some new artwork for the anniversary, so we're going to have to post that online, too.
We totally forgot all about that.
That
all
our
right.
friend Chris Ramo did for us.
I'm
so
on
hint,
it this
hint,
time,
nudge,
guys.
nudge.
Yes,
Yeah,
Christy's
so
a
we'll have
part
to
of it
post
this
that.
year.
Yeah.
Thank you, Chris Ramo. We didn't even do the thing. All right, we're going a little late.
Yeah.
Fuck it. All the thank yous. Thanks to Greg Opie Hughes, Anthony, Jimmy Norton, for who gave us the permission and the help to start this whole thing. Don Wicklund, of course. Everybody in the talent department, being Roland, Spencer, and Margot. Yes, Roland's going through the toy box there, and he's claiming what he's taking home.
Especially Roland.
Yes. Thank you to all our friends that have been on the show fucking 3 years. Lewis, who's not here today because he's getting married next week, so we had to take care of
Hi
all
to
of that
Giddles,
stuff.
who couldn't make it today.
Giddles couldn't make it tonight.
Aw.
And I think that's...
If we missed you, we're sorry.
All right, we'll see you next week. Till the next time, be seeing you.
Hey, it's Oscar from Big O and Dukes. Congratulations, it's your 3rd anniversary. Most shows get canceled within 2 years, at least Big O and Dukes does. But the fact that we have remained friends for so long means the world. Congratulations, Erik. Now, Chad has some loving and supportive words for you.
Not sure why a part-time show would celebrate a 3rd anniversary. It really means nothing.
This has been It's Erik Nagel. Hear full shows of It's Erik Nagel on demand by going to SiriusXM.com or download the SiriusXM app.